Come on. I'm coming in. I don't know if you can hear me, Dave. I'm having some technical difficulties right now. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Okay, here we go. Come on. So I'm having some difficult. God damn it! Come on, shit, computer. Come on, bring me up there. here I go. Hello. Sorry, he's having some technical difficulties. Peter want to act up. Went on the wrong time. Okay, it's time to get the show started. Coming in, my brother, all the way from Ohio, David Clark. How you doing?
Pretty good. How you been? Thanks for having me on, Corey.
Um, Tell me your
Is, is,
name and what your team you
is my picture sideways? Do I got to turn my phone or my vertical?
you vertical.
Okay, as long as I'm vertical, so I'm letting this charge. Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me on the show. My name's Dave Clark. I've been a lifelong Cleveland Browns fan since the days of Brian Sipe as our franchise quarterback back in 1978 when I was in grade school. Before we begin, I saw a comment that was interesting. Somebody asked, does Dave know that the Rams were in Cleveland before Los Angeles? Yes, I do. The Cleveland Rams were in Cleveland, I believe, up until 1941 or something like that. Then they moved to Los Angeles, and then Paul Brown took over the franchise in 1946 as the head coach. And he was there under Cleveland ownership from 46 to 63 until Art Modell took it over. I don't want to jump around too much. Before I go too much further, I'd like to make a big tribute to the great Jim Brown. He left us. He passed away.
Okay.
He passed away about. You good, Corey? You good?
Let's have a moment. Let's here before you say that. Let's have a moment of silence and for this guy. Okay.
I'd like to thank the great Jim Brown. He passed away about 2 weeks ago. He was age 87. So I've always told everybody, if you live to be 80, you live the full life. Any years over 80, you put in overtime. I feel like life is 4 quarters, just like football. Uh,
Peace.
he put in overtime. He was 87. Age 20 is the first quarter. Up to age 40 is your second quarter. Uh, Age 60 is up to your third quarter. When you turn 61, you start the fourth quarter in life. If you make it to 81, you completed the game, and anything older than 81, you're putting in overtime, which is great. So, not only was Jim Brown a Hall of Fame uh, running back in the NFL and amassed over 12,000 yards rushing in just 9 seasons, back when there was 14 game regular season games. Not only that, but he was a civil rights activist. So I thank Jim Brown for standing up for our United States Constitution, and he was a big movie star in Hollywood. So
Yeah.
his attributes, I mean, he accomplished quite a bit. He was a busy man. Um, if you watch NFL films history, there's a lot of players that were thrilled when Jim Brown left the league in 1965 to go to Hollywood and go into acting because they didn't like trying to tackle the guy. They didn't
Mm-hmm.
like getting run over by him. And a lot of times Jim Brown, after he finally got tackled, he probably broke 2 or 3 tackles and dragged 4 or 5 different defenders across the field with him. When he was finally brought down, he would get up real, real slow. and he would limp back to the huddle, and he wanted the opponent to think that he was hurt when he wasn't. He was gimping and acting the whole time. And so a tribute to him. He helped bring 4 NFL championships to the Cleveland Browns. And you go back to Cleveland Browns history, technically the Cleveland Browns, when we had Otto Graham as a franchise quarterback, technically, and Paul Brown as head coach, technically the Cleveland Browns appeared in 10 championship games, but the league only recognizes 4 of those championships. But technically, the Browns had 8 championships. So, again, Jim Brown, we thank him and his legacy. Outstanding football player, civil rights activist, movie star. He is missed, and he still holds the franchise record for rushing with 1,863 yards rushing in a 14-game regular season schedule. I was hoping Nick Chubb might be able to reset that record, but I think that Jim Brown record's going to stand for a little while there in Cleveland. I don't know if Nick Chubb's going to be able to tip that again. Plus, they don't run as often as they used to nowadays. And Nick Chubb had 1,400 yards, so he really didn't even brush that 1,800-yard record by Jim Brown. But again, hats off to Jim Brown. We thank him and his legacy. All the work he put in as a civil rights activist, broadcasting, his movies, and Hall of Fame fullback, and his attributes on and off the football field.
Yeah, he too, he had to sit down with the Crips and the Bloods, 2 big gang members, leaders, try to get them to have peace. He sat down with him. He was a very brave man.
I don't know where you wanted to go on this show, but if anybody wants to talk a little bit of Cleveland Browns history, I'll vaguely go into a little bit of history. The Cleveland Browns franchise started out with Paul Brown as the head coach in 1946, and when
Dave, for a minute, hold on. Keep going, I gotta go be back. I gotta go shut the chicken cage, and then I'll come back and I'll ask you some questions. So entertain the crowd while I'm gone.
As I was saying there, the Cleveland Browns formed in 1946 under the original ownership. The city of Cleveland had Paul Brown as head coach, and Paul Brown told the city, whatever you name this new team, don't name them the Browns, and that's exactly what they did. They named the team after Paul Brown. Paul Brown served as head coach for 16 seasons and brought 7 NFL championships to Cleveland during that time and legacy. Unfortunately, Art Modell bought the team in 1962. After the 1962 season, Art Modell fired Paul Brown as head coach after Paul Brown served for 16 consecutive seasons. And he was replaced with Blanton Coyer. 1964 was the last NFL championship Cleveland won under Blanton Coyer. And in 1968, Paul Brown went down to Cincinnati and formed his own franchise with the Cincinnati Bengals, and we know where everything went there. The West Coast offense was developed out of Paul Brown's playbook. Bill Walsh was the assistant head coach under Paul Brown in Cincinnati from 1968 to 1977. before he took over the head coaching position for the San Francisco 49ers. So a lot of those plays that Bill Walsh won with Joe Montana, a lot of those plays that they ran in that so-called West Coast offense was all out of Paul Brown's playbook. So you San Francisco 49ers fan can thank Paul Brown for his plays and for that offense being renamed the West Coast offense when Bill Walsh took over as head coach there in Cincinnati, San Francisco. Go ahead. After Paul Brown was fired in the 1963 season, Blanton Collier only lasted 8 seasons for the Cleveland Browns head coach. And since that day, we've really never had a long-term head coach in Cleveland since those years. Just waiting for Corey to get back. Bear with me. Waiting for Corey to get back. I'd like Corey to get back in here. Bear with me, people.
Okay. I'm back.
Corey, I was lost for words there. I talked a little bit. I wanted to get you back in here, but I'll let you go where you want to go next.
Okay. I don't know if he mentioned this, or he probably answered all my questions.
Nah.
What platform can my fans find you at? Social media. How can they follow you? Where can they follow you?
Oh, I'm on Facebook in 32 NFL Teams Warzone group. Send them the link to the group. They can follow me in the group. I really don't get on live that much anymore. I mainly just float around and do guest appearances like I'm doing right now. So I'm really not getting involved with that big of a following anymore on social media. But if they want to join the group, they can catch me on lives in the group periodically from time to time at 32 NFL Teams Warzone.
Okay. That's good.
On Facebook.
Who is the coach of the Cleveland Browns right now?
Right now we got Kevin Stefanski. He's entering his 4th year as head coach. Yeah, I think it was 2020 2020 was the COVID year, right?
Yep.
2020, 21, 22. Kevin Stefanski's entering his 4th year as head coach, and media here in Cleveland says that he's on the hot seat, and I agree with that. I've called that all along. Hello, B. Bob Jones. Appreciate the shout out. Thank you. Right now, if Kevin Stefanski does not generate a winning season, a convincing winning season, with a wild card playoff spot, I would have to say he's going to be looking at no longer being with us come Black Monday next season. I believe if you look at our roster, I believe there's enough talent on the roster alone. If you base it on talent alone of our roster, there's enough talent on that roster to win, realistically, win 10 to 11 games if you have good coaching. So it's not the strength of our roster. It's not the depth or the talent on our roster. Right now, there's a coaching problem. And Kevin Stefanski has not shown he's confident enough and capable enough to string wins together consistently and go on a win streak. And he's failed to close out games in the final minutes, and nothing upsets me more than when Stefanski, as a head coach, finds a way to lose a game with under 4 minutes to go, and you're holding on to a 6-point lead. You can't close that out. That's on coaching there.
Mm-hmm.
And he's found a way to lose games in the final minutes in the fourth quarter. So, that's on him. There's no more excuse about, well, there's no talent here. Well, there's talent on this roster. Paper champions don't count. I don't care what a team does in preseason. I never seen them hand out trophies for preseason champions. You can look good on paper. I will say this while we're on this matter about coaches. Cleveland had Kyle Shanahan as an offensive coordinator back in 2014. Midway through the 2015 season, he just up and asked Jimmy Haslam, the owner, if he'd allow him out of his contract so he could just leave. And they were like, yeah, sure, no problem. We'll release you from your contract. So we've had good coaches in Cleveland. We can't say that we haven't. I mean, we've had some decent coaches. We've just not held on to them or not allowed them the time to develop. I wish Kyle Shanahan could have worked out in Cleveland. I wish Cleveland could have found a way to keep him happy. And actually, he's the one that should have been a head coach that year instead of Mike Pettin. But Kyle Shanahan was operating as the offensive coordinator. I mean, Kyle Shanahan in 2014, he managed to take Brian Hoyer and still win 7 games with Brian Hoyer. If you can win 7 games with Brian Hoyer, you got a quarterback friendly system. So you want to talk about the 49ers a little bit, because I know a little bit about Kyle Shanahan. I believe, from what I've seen, Kyle Shanahan has a quarterback friendly system offense. Meaning I believe you could put Baker Mayfield out there as a starter in San Francisco. And I believe Kyle Shanahan and that system out there would make Mayfield look better than what he is. And people will start me saying, hey, Mayfield's a good quarterback all of a sudden now. Why is that? I'm telling you, man. So I'm not going to bring up any quarterbacks' names, any 49ers quarterbacks. You could come up with your own theory. But I just throw that at you. Now, you take a successful quarterback without throwing out names. You remove him from that 49er offense and you put him on the Houston Texans. And I bet you he won't be as successful. No names. But anyways, I wish we had Kyle Shanahan in Cleveland. He would be close. You guys got a good coach.
Yeah, we
And,
just
you know what? Not to interrupt you, Corey. I did like Shanahan when he was offensive coordinator in Cleveland. But go ahead.
yeah, we just need a quarterback to stay healthy. You know, like I'm praying that Trey do come and take over the ranks, and he does good. But if he don't, and, and Brock Purdy's the guy, I'll be rooting for him. See, I root for the person on the front of the name on the front of this jersey, not on the back. So if not Bryant, if Brock Purdy or Trey Lance the guy, I'll be rooting for them. I'm just ready for this to get started. So stop all this talk about who's gonna be the starter. That's
Well,
what we're gonna do right now.
I mean, now that you brought that up, if Trey Lance is on that roster, he was drafted 3rd overall, and San Francisco paid quite a bit in draft picks to move up and get the guy. To me, if he's there still, there's no reason not to start him as much as you guys paid to go up and get him. And if he's 2-6 after 8 games, then you know you got to do something. But to come in and say that you're not going to start him, if you're not going to start him, then trade the guy. Because why would John Lynch give up 2 first-round picks or whatever they gave up? I know they gave up a lot. I think not as much as Cleveland gave up for Deshaun Watson. I don't want to talk about how we gave up too much to get Watson. But you guys gave up a lot to get Lance.
Yeah.
Did you not? Was it 2 first-round picks or 3? It was 2, right? To move up?
2.
I believe you find talent in the draft. I hate trading off draft picks. In Cleveland, we traded off half our. Well, we don't have another 3rd-round pick next year. We traded those off for Watson, but so you got to give Lance a wing at it. You got to give him a shot at it.
I think you already answered this question, but let me ask this again because they said, "How long you been a Browns fan?"
Oh, how you doing? Niner Sickness Podcast. Is that Niner Beto? I don't care for Niner Beto, but 1978. I've been a Cleveland Browns fan since 1978. Niner Beto, change the name of your podcast. Niner Sickness is that's pretty goofy. Sorry, I'm not gonna blast Niner Beto. This is your show. Go ahead.
Okay. So that was my next question about your QB. How do you feel about your QB? Do you think he's gonna win you this season, or do you think?
No, listen. Let me address this comment down here. This Bryant Chip. Can you go back to the other comment? Yeah. In your opinion, is Jim Otto the best franchise quarterback in Browns history? Bryant Culp, I want to correct you. I know for a fact that Otto Graham is the best franchise quarterback in Cleveland Browns history. His name was Otto Graham. Jim Otto was a center for the Oakland Raiders, just so you know. But you got the names confused. Yes, Bryant Culp. Otto Graham was the best quarterback in Cleveland Browns franchise history. He appeared in 10 championships. He won 8 out of 10 championships. Only other franchise quarterback we had after him was Brian Sipe and then Bernie Kosar. And Brian Sipe and Bernie Kosar did not accomplish the feat and the level that Otto Graham did. So for your answer, yes. We go back to the days of Otto Graham before I was born as our best franchise quarterback. Continue, Corey.
Okay, so do you feel Deshaun Watson gonna be able to give y'all a whole bunch of wins? Do you think y'all gonna make the playoffs? Anything with him as your QB? Or do y'all think y'all gonna have to move on from him and find you another quarterback?
Well, in all reality, we're stuck with Deshaun Watson for 4 more seasons because that's a fully guaranteed contract. And our incompetent owner, Jimmy Haslam, I'll throw him under the bus. I don't care for Jimmy Haslam. Jimmy Haslam is shady. He's a shady character. To me, he was a thief when he had his Flying J, travel plazas, and pilot fuel plazas. That I won't get into that, but it was Jimmy Haslam's decision to get aggressively and go after Deshaun Watson. So the best way I can answer that question, with the right coach, I believe Deshaun Watson could get us a winning season. And a winning season can be, see, I can't give him a affirmative, clear-cut, solid, straight, short answer. I can't do that. I believe Deshaun Watson can get us a winning season, but a winning season could be 9-8, 10-7, and I believe Deshaun Watson could win us a playoff game. As far as taking us to where you want to get to, where every team wants to be, to hoisting that trophy you want to hoist, no. So the long answer for them is, after 4 years, yes, Cleveland will be looking for another quarterback after 4 years. Deshaun Watson is not going to be able to take us where we need to go, and he's not going to get us there within 4 years. If we had the right coaching, we would have. If we had better coaching and the right coach to pair up with Deshaun Watson, we would have a larger window, a larger opening in the window. But right now, the window opening is not very, very big. The window's closing up too. And it's the coaching that messes it up for Cleveland. I don't know. Deshaun Watson might be able to win us one division title, man. That would be the most we could get out of him. Win one division title, possibly, within the next 4 years. And if I could get one division title in the next 4 years, I'll take it. But as far as going all out, all the way, and getting what you want to getting what San Francisco's already got 5 times, no, I don't see that happening. Not with this quarterback. Not long term. Next question. Or do you want me to elaborate? I can elaborate and talk all night.
Who's all the players that Cleveland Brown drafted this 2023 draft? Who's all your draft picks?
One second. One second.
Okay, make sure y'all hit that like button if you like what you're seeing. While he's doing that, my fans, tomorrow I had to switch the 49 Trivia results show to Monday at 7 o'clock.
Right back. Be right back.
Okay. At 7 o'clock, I'm doing 49 result trivia because Sunday I'm going out at 7. I won't be back in time to do it. So I'm going to do it Monday at 7 Pacific time, 10 Eastern time. And I can't wait till the season start. Can't wait to see who's our starting quarterback. See what's gonna happen.
Okay, Corey, I'm back. This 2023 draft for the Cleveland Browns, we didn't have a first round pick because that was traded for Watson. Next year, we don't have a first round pick. We didn't have a second round pick either. We traded off our second round pick. We didn't pick until the third round at 98th overall. And Cleveland took Siaka Ika, defensive tackle from Baylor. Siaki Ika. A big Samoan dude. Guys listed at 350 pounds, man. I don't know how he's going to put on a pass rush, but that's him. He's a big Samoan dude. And most of those big guys aren't in the league much. You got speed and pass rushers. You want speed rushers on your line in today's game. So I have to see this guy get on the field and see what he can do. See if he's one of those massive big body that's got a good combination of speed and strength, or he's just got an all-out bull rush like Shaun Rogers did. I remember when Shaun Rogers was a big guy, but he had a bull rush that could split through blockers and take on two blockers. In the fourth round, we drafted Isaiah McGuire, defensive end from Missouri. In the fifth round, for some reason, we drafted Dorian Thompson-Robinson, quarterback from UCLA. Fifth round at number 140. Another fifth round draft pick we took was Cameron Mitchell, cornerback from Northwestern. He went in the fifth round at number 142. In the sixth round, we took Luke Weipler, center from Ohio State. I like that pick. He was a 2-year starter at center with 26 consecutive starts at Ohio State. He earned honorable mention, all Big Ten honors. I like the pick there.
Okay.
And that's let's see.
Okay, which rookie you think gonna make a big impact this season?
I don't know. Who you got for best rookie this season? You tell me.
Mm.
Here's the rest of our draft picks. Hold on. Here's the other guy I forgot to mention.
Okay.
that I took a look at. In the third round, at pick number 74, Cleveland took wide receiver Cedric Tillman from Tennessee. He's listed at 6'3", 215 pounds. He's a jumper. I want to see what that kid can do. He gets on the field. Yes, as far as which rookie's going to do anything this year, I don't know. Who do you got as best rookie?
I'm thinking our I think the only one going to most see the field is our kicker that we drafted.
Well, if they're talking best rookie to make an impact for the Cleveland Browns, not the whole league, I would say I'd expect something to come from this Cedric Tillman, wide receiver from Tennessee. He was drafted in the 3rd round. If he can stay healthy.
So, I think our rookie kicker is going to be our impact player now. But if the safety that been balling out, if he does like he been doing in the OTAs, what's his name? He drafted him in the I know we moved up to draft him, a safety. John Jay, help me out. What's his name?
Week 6, Cleveland Browns versus 49ers. The only thing I'll say about that game is I'm so happy the game is in Cleveland. Because when Cleveland travels out to San Francisco, man, they leave the airport late. They get out there late. They're jet lag. No excuse, but they don't leave early enough to get out there and prepare. They play for shit on the road at San Francisco. The only advantage we have there is they're coming to our place. Maybe we might be able to make it a game with them. I hope. Oh, hey, Corey. Here's another one of our picks this year. In another 4th round pick, Cleveland Browns selected offensive tackle DeJuan Jones of Ohio State, another Ohio State offensive lineman. Hey, listen to this. This guy's listed at 6'8", 374 pounds. Jones was one of the biggest players of all players in the draft class and was a 2-year starter at Ohio State. Jones primarily played right tackle with the Buckeyes and was a 2nd-team All-American and 3rd-team All-Big Ten selection in 2022, when he didn't allow a single sack. An Indianapolis native, Jones also carried a tremendous 87-inch wingspan. There's the offensive tackle. We get him on the field. Now that we're talking draft picks, I'm just trying to set parameters here. There's no right or wrong answer here. I'm basing this on a theory, all right? You tell me by data. You correct me and you tell me, Corey, you tell me by data, extensive data, what the corrections would be to what my theory I'm about to share with you, all right? 1st round, 2nd round, and this is for any team. This isn't just for the Browns. I'm talking in general. When teams make their draft picks, your 1st, 2nd, and 3rd round picks, they should be able to not only make your roster, but come in and start immediate starters. Your 4th and 5th round draft picks should be able to earn a spot on the active roster and make the team. But a 4th and 5th rounder, to me, just the parameters of my theory I'm trying to base it off of, generally won't last beyond their rookie contract. So if they got a 3 or 4 year rookie deal, they generally will not be re-signed or extended. And then your 6th and 7th round draft picks, if they make the team, there's a good chance they won't even make the team. And if they do make the team, more than likely, they'll pass waivers and be signed on the practice squad. That's just my general rule of thumb. So I'm looking at these 4th round picks of ours, and I'm like, well, they're going to have to overachieve to even get a starting position. But really, we don't have much. We got 2 3rd round picks. We got a defensive tackle, Siaki Ika from Baylor, and we got Tillman, the wide receiver. Those guys should be able to come in and start. Basically, we only got 2 draft picks that are going to come in and start. These 4th and 5th round picks, we don't know how they're going to pan out. So that's just my personal theory. So your 1st, 2nd, and 3rd round draft picks that not only make your roster but actually start immediately day one unless it's a quarterback, of course. You might not want to start a quarterback day one. You might want to give him a few weeks. Not only are they capable of starting immediately, but they should progress to a level to where they're worthy of re-signing and extending and offering contract extensions to once they complete their rookie deal, their 4-year rookie deal, or in which case a first round pick, you can pick up a 5th-year option on them. And again, fourth and fifth round draft picks, if they earn a roster spot, generally they won't even be. Generally, of course, and I'm not talking about like George Kittle for the San Francisco 49ers that was a 5th round draft pick and he's all pro, and there are exceptions. I was just making a general theory.
Yeah.
Based on theory, just setting a parameter. That doesn't go for Tom Brady. He was a 6th round pick. So, and that's what you hope you find. You hope you find a George Kittle in the 5th round that you didn't reach for, and you got next for nothing as a 5th round pick, and you made he slid down to you. You ended up getting a 1st round talent in the 5th round out of George Kittle, is what I'm trying to say. But tell me, if Kittle was drafted over again, he'd have gone in the 1st round, would he not?
Yep.
So that's my theory, but go ahead.
Just like we'll take our quarterback, Brock Purdy. He was drafted last
7th round.
That round, Mr. Irrelevant. And nobody thought he would make the team. None of the 49ers think he would play like he played. We didn't see that coming, And all of a sudden, boom, two of our quarterbacks go down. And here he is.
I'm not laughing about that, but
winning the games.
But again, now that you mentioned his name, I'm gonna mention a name now. Now that you mentioned his name, because earlier when I told you how good Kyle Shanahan's offensive-friendly quarterback system was, and his system could make Baker Mayfield look good. Now I'm gonna throw something at you, and I want to bring his name up, but you brought his name up. So since you brought his name up, now I'm gonna bring it. Now I'm gonna bring it up with you. Based on theory, this is not fact. It would be interesting to see if you could trade Brock Purdy to the Houston Texans and start him for Houston and see if he holds that same level of talent and that level of play with the Houston Texans. It would be interesting.
It would be.
That's when you would find out if you had a really good quarterback or a good quarterback-friendly offensive system. I think you got a real good quarterback-friendly offensive system, good head coach out there. I'm willing to bet that Shanahan, which is what you want, you can take a average to subpar, above average quarterback, an average guy, a serviceable guy, a solid quarterback. Place him in that offense and excel and make him look good and win games with him. Yeah. That's outstanding. I tell you what. Now I'm gonna make another name.
We can do it.
And my theory will be put to the test when we see how many games Jimmy Garoppolo wins for Las Vegas Raiders. So let's see how it plays out.
Yeah. And also though, I know I can name 2 quarterbacks that didn't have good in Kyle Shanahan's system. Hoyer and the guy that took over after Brock Purdy got hurt. He looked like a deer, like a scared deer in that offense. Joshua Johnson. He didn't look ready. So we'll see which quarterback we'll do. And the guy I was talking about, the safety I was talking about was Jair Brown.
Jair Brown.
Yeah, he's been looking good in OTAs. And Little Spongy had a question for you. Let me see. Where was it? Who's the Browns' current center?
It was let's see. Yeah, a couple guys. I forgot the guy's name, drawing blank. I know his number 53. I keep forgetting his name though. Number 53 is the current center. I just keep forgetting his name.
Okay, he
Hold
said,
on a sec.
David, if your center, Luke.
Nick Harris. No, Nick Harris. Number 53 is Nick Harris. He's the current center.
Okay.
He was out of Washington State. He came in and took over for he took over for the other guy that retired for us that kept getting hurt. It was part of the players union. Yeah, Nick Harris is the current center. The other guy's that center from Ohio State we drafted. 4th round. What were you going to say?
Let me see. Hit him more. Okay. Who did the Browns get in the free agent? Did they get any good players in free agent?
Tell you here in a second. Not really. They signed Chris Westry, cornerback. Michael Dunn, offensive guard. Oh, these guys aren't. Not really. We didn't sign any free agents. Cleveland didn't sign any
Okay.
decent free agents. None that I see that stand out. Give me a second. Linebacker Jordan Kunasak. He's no big deal. Signed the linebacker Matthew Adams. No big deal. We re-signed Greedy Williams as an unrestricted free agent, so we kept him around. Signed cornerback Michael Ford. Signed the free agent offensive lineman Alolte Fryholt. We re-signed running back Ernest Johnson. We re-signed quarterback Josh Dobbs. We re-signed linebacker Anthony Walker. He was a good signing. We signed Wes Martin, offensive guard. We signed Farrell Brown, a tight end. We signed wide receiver Marquise Goodwin. He's no big deal.
speedy receiver. He used to be a 49er.
Marquise Goodwin.
Yep.
And we'll see how he does. He's a burner.
Yeah,
you say he's speedy. He's a burner.
Yeah, he went to Seattle from 49ers to Seattle. Now he's with y'all, I guess. Yeah, he had one good game with us. He made one good catch where, because he was going through a lot when he was with us. His sister passed away. So after his sister passed away, he was never the same.
Hey, here's the other free agent signings we had. Maurice Hurst, defensive tackle. I know you heard of him. He might be able to fill in a spot. And we signed
49ers.
We signed an edge rusher from the Houston Texans. His name is very difficult to pronounce. Agba Okoronkwo, but I pronounced it right. Agba Okoronkwo. And then we signed another tight end, Jordan Atkins. Now, we traded for defensive end Zadarius Smith. And he's supposed to pair up on the opposite side of Myles Garrett.
Mm-hmm. That Maurice Hurst, though, he's kind of injury prone. As he was with us, and almost every season he got hurt.
Keep this question up here. Here's David McNiner. It says, David, do you have a record prediction for the Browns or a range? How many wins for the two? Yes, David McNiner. Shout out to you. I predict the Cleveland Browns to go 7-10 at worst. At no better than 9-8. There's a good possibility the Cleveland Browns could fall somewhere in the middle of the pack and mediocre to 8-9. So I'm calling 7-10 at worst, 9-8 at best. No playoffs, and Kevin Stefanski gets released on Black Monday. Even if we win 9 games, I don't believe that's going to be enough to make it in the playoffs. So that's where I go.
Have you been paying attention to your OTAs?
Not really. I really don't start paying much attention until training camp starts, which is coming up here pretty soon. And we're only about 90 days away from the first regular season game. Steve-O, Super Bowl, and I'll question you all on it. Be real or be
Steve-O's primo.
Oh, there he is. Appreciate it, David McNiner.
Okay, you already answered that one question David asked you. That's one of my questions. How you feel that the team was going to do this year? What do you think about the new? Have you paid attention to the new kickoff rules?
Yeah, that's pretty bogus. They're saying you can fair catch it, and if you fair catch it anywhere, you get the ball on the 25-yard line. I wish they moved the kickoff back to the 30-yard line like they used to do. They don't do that anymore. I don't agree with it. I think it's pretty bogus. Kick returners were getting too many returns, so they had to move the kickoffs up to the 35-yard line and keep returners from returning.
Yeah, they trying to. They saying too. This is one test year. They trying to see if most of the concussions come during the kickoffs. So they try to eliminate that by giving players a choice to where they can fair catch it anywhere, like beyond. If they fair catch it at the 1 yard line, they get it on the 25. See, I want to go back into our old rules, David, where you had to catch the ball. You could not let that ball hit that ground. Because if you let it hit the ground, the other team can come recover it and score a touchdown with it.
Right.
That ball was live.
Right.
A little bit they're going back to that. You have to catch the ball and call it fair catch. You can't just let it hit the ground no more and call it fair catch. So that's a little bit going back, but when it breaks down to now how you try to pin a player down at the 1 yard line, it's gonna be hard to do that. To pin them down on the 1 yard line on a kickoff. Because they fair catch it, they get it on the 25. So it's taking some things away what other players could do.
Right. Yeah, I don't believe I agree with that. But the league's going to do what they're going to do. The way they're going to do it.
Okay. There was a rumor out. One of my other YouTubers. I was on his page and he brought this up. He's saying that the Cleveland Browns, that y'all owner wants to play in a Superdome. He wants a dome. So he's willing to move the team out of Cleveland to get a dome if they don't give him a dome. Is that true? Did you hear anything about that?
Yeah, the last talk, unless something new developed, but the last talks I saw was they were going to renovate the current stadium. But unless that's changed, because that could change in a heartbeat. I know that the team can't move until after 2029. I know that because that lease runs out in another 7 years, 2029. For 1 second. No, last I heard, they were going to renovate the current stadium. And he was supposed to be good with that. And he's talking about this dome or outdoors. Okay, there it is. Here's what he's talking about. They're going to try to renovate the current stadium. They would like to try to renovate the current stadium and put a retractable roof on the current stadium.
Oh, okay.
That's what they're trying for, which would be pretty good. You got a lid on it, and you can retract it.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool. Because when Lake Erie freezes up in the wintertime, man, that cold blasting off there, it's treacherous, man. I've been up there in that cold. I mean, it could be 15 degrees down in Akron and up at the Cleveland Stadium right on, because that stadium is right on Lake Erie, right there. You walk out the front door of the stadium and the water is right there at your feet. It could be 15 degrees down in Akron. It could be 5 below zero at Cleveland Stadium, and it could be 35 below zero with the wind chill factor if the lake's froze up with wind coming off. Yeah, it's treacherous, man. The wintertime up there ain't no joke. Back in 1980, when Brian Sipe had the divisional playoff game with the Oakland Raiders at Cleveland that we lost, a mistake on the lake, it was recorded 45 degrees below zero with the wind chill factor, and the water lines froze. The showers wouldn't work in the locker room. The Johns wouldn't flush. They had a hell of a mess that.
Okay. I want to do with you again, like either after the game, our game with the Cleveland Browns.
Oh no, you got to
Or
put me through that. Oh man, I hope we win. I hope we win. If you got to do that to me, I hope we win, man. Because that's treacherous going on with you after a loss, man. Jesus, criminy, you got to do that to me again.
Or before, it could be before the game, like a
Nah, man,
Saturday.
after the game. Or probably before and after, both before and after the game. But basically, to sum it up, I mean, the Cleveland Browns franchise, their best years were before my lifetime. We're back in the days of Paul Brown, Jim Brown, Otto Graham. Like I said, they won 8 out of 10 NFL championships. The league only recognized 4 of those championships before the merger. And then since the merger, the Cleveland Browns have only won 6 divisional titles. They've only won the division 6 times since the merger. The last time we won a division was in 1988 with Bernie Kosar, and that's it. We can't even win our own division. So basically, Cleveland's time was before my lifetime. They were one of the best teams in the whole league back in that day and age. Back when. Go ahead.
How you feel about Baker Mayfield? How he's gonna do in Tampa Bay?
I don't know if he's going in a good situation down there. I mean, he's serviceable. I mean, he flopped in Carolina. He might be able to win him 8 games. He's not the long-term answer.
Mm-hmm.
He'd succeed better if he was in that San Francisco 49ers offense.
Mm-hmm. I believe my friends will love. Plus, I know my friend John Jay. He talks about you all the time. John Jay, 49 Ultimate Report. He talks about you a lot of times. So, if you don't mind, can I send them the link and have them come in?
Yeah, put them on right now.
Okay, let me get it. Mm-hmm. Come on. Is it there? Okay. My panel, if you'd like to come in and ask Mr. Clark some questions, come on in. The link is in the chat. Yep. I know when it looked like the 49ers, I don't know if I'm trying to, did they try to go after Baker Mayfield? I don't know if they did.
I don't think he was in talks. I don't think so.
I know the Rams went after him. I think the Rams thought we was gonna go after him and went after him. Here's my buddy John J. Come on, John J.
What's up, Corey? What's up,
Hey,
David Clark?
How you doing, John Jay? Thanks for
I'm doing
joining us.
good.
Deal.
Good
coming
show,
in,
guys.
David McNiner. David McNiner.
What's up, Corey? I'm
Thanks
actually
for joining.
trying a new set of earbuds tonight, so if I sound different or if my sound's messed up, it'd be nice to let me know.
Okay. So, John J., you have any questions you want to ask?
Let's see. Earlier, I left in the chat because the 49ers and Browns are playing each other. You know, like I want to know, like, what do you think about the matchup? Like, do you think the Browns have an advantage or the Niners have an advantage?
The only advantage Cleveland has over San Francisco in that matchup, as I mentioned earlier, I'll repeat it and mention it again. The game is being played at Cleveland. I say that because the times Cleveland have gone to San Francisco, and this is not an excuse, but this is just what happens. They don't leave the airport early enough. They don't get out there early enough to get prepared. They're jet lagged because they left late. Those West Coast games, I think you got to leave with your team a day early. If you can leave a day early and rent a field out there to do a walkthrough, but they just never play good out there at San Francisco's place. So I'm glad 49ers are coming to Cleveland. That'll give us a chance to at least try to be in the game with them. As far as the matchup goes, I hope it's Trey Lance starting against us. And I hope they stay with Trey Lance. And if Trey Lance is not your man, I hope Trey Lance gives Cleveland a chance to steal a win for you guys. And I'm reaching. I'm reaching, okay? I want to keep it real. In all honesty, all kidding aside, I hope Cleveland can prepare for San Francisco, no matter who their quarterback is, whether it be Lance or Brock Purdy, and hopefully they can be prepared and at least stay toe-to-toe with them and make it a game. And I'm glad it's being played at home. I still give the edge of San Francisco because I give it to their coach, because the clear-cut answer I can give you, if the game comes down to coaching, let's talk about coaching, how you coach your game and you call your plays and you run your game. Shanahan can and will outcoach Stefanski. So unless we've got some playmakers that can bail out Stefanski, I'd say, we're going to have our hands full trying to get a win off them. I hope the 49ers sleep on us. We'll see. But the advantage to coaching definitely goes to San Francisco.
McNally, you got any questions or anything?
Well, I know you touched on Deshaun Watson earlier, but the guy misses damn near 2 full seasons. Played what, 6 games last year?
Before you go on,
and
I'm
I mean,
gonna
how do you
when
think
you're
he
ready.
did? How do you think he actually did in those 6 games?
Before I answer that, and if I forget to answer that, ask it again. I want to back up to bring you up to that point.
Okay.
First of all, so everybody knows and has a clear understanding of how it transpired, because I follow the Cleveland media quite closely, and 92.3, the Fan in Cleveland, they report pretty accurate information to fans here in Cleveland. If you back up to the 2022 offseason, you back up to March of 2022. We're going back now to the scouting combine. Our owner, Jimmy Haslam, with our head coach Kevin Stefanski and our general manager Andrew Berry. They were present at the scouting combine in Indianapolis. They sat right down next to Baker Mayfield's agent at the combine, and they told his agent, they communicated with him honestly, truthfully, and clearly. They told his agent, this is how they presented them. They said at that time that Baker Mayfield was Cleveland's starting quarterback going forward, because Mayfield was entering on his 5th-year option that Cleveland picked up. They said, however, if they had an opportunity to upgrade the quarterback position by acquiring a trade for Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, or Deshaun Watson, they would attempt to make a trade in an effort to possibly improve the quarterback position. So it's like his agent had a foregone heads up. His agent should have communicated that directly to Mayfield. So when Cleveland offered a trade with Deshaun Watson initially refused and declined the trade and refused to sign off he refused to waive his no trade agreement to go to Cleveland. After that happened, Mayfield got his feelings hurt, got all in his feelings, and he cried and said, well, I tell you what, since this is the way you're going to treat me, you're not getting rid of me first. I'm going to get rid of you first. Mayfield demanded to be traded to the Indianapolis Colts. Now, you back up a week before that. Now I want to back up again because I got ahead of myself. Go back a week before that, before they offered the trade. What had happened was Mayfield got upset when Jimmy Haslam, Kevin Stefanski, and Andrew Berry got on Haslam's Learjet, private Learjet, and flew down to Houston to sit down with Watson and his agents and talk to them directly and try to make a trade deal. So then when Watson turned them down and Mayfield demanded, Mayfield thought, hey, you'll trade me to the Indianapolis Colts. Mayfield thought he was talented enough to dictate to our team where he would be traded to. And Jimmy Haslam contacted Mayfield. And Jimmy Haslam tried to patch things up. And he said, look, I'd like to get on my jet and fly down to your home in Austin, Texas, and sit down and talk to you about this. And you're trying to reconcile. You're trying to talk to him about it. And Mayfield told Haslam on the phone, he said, no, this relationship, this is over. I'm done. Trade me. Don't come down here. It's not going to do any good. I'm done with this team. So, to me, Mayfield played his hand too soon. Because even then, at that point, Cleveland was still going to start him as a starter had he not demanded to be traded. So since Mayfield played his hand too early, he forced Haslam's hand. So Haslam said, okay, go back to Watson, offer him a fully guaranteed deal, make him a deal he can't refuse, and get him there. So that forced Jimmy Haslam's hand to go back and submit a second trade offer in that trade agreement. And that's when Haslam came up with this 5-year, $230 million contract, fully guaranteed deal. Got Watson. And then after that, nobody wanted Mayfield until we finally found a trade partner with the Carolina Panthers. The only thing we got in return for that was a 5th-round draft pick. Point being, had Mayfield simply just not said anything, he could have finished out his 5th-year option in Cleveland, which I was prepared and ready to finish the season with Mayfield as a starter. I was happy when Watson turned down the initial trade agreement. And when I project things in the future and I look ahead, what I was seeing back then, I was saying, look, Mayfield will be healthy. He's coming off a torn labrum that he had surgery on. He'll finish out his 5th-year option. If we still don't have plans for a quarterback after that, we'll franchise tag him. the lower tag, not the exclusive rights tag, but the non-exclusive rights franchise tag. Well, franchise tag him for $32 million and extend him one more year and play him on the tag, like Baltimore did with Lamar Jackson before they worked out there. That didn't help out. So Haslam's the type of guy that he's going to go out and get that guy. And then now under the circumstances, keeping my expectations real with the coaching. If Watson could win us one divisional title within the next 4 years, win our division one time and win a playoff game, those would be my expectations, and I could be happy with that. But he's not gonna take us where we want to go, where you want to get to. I mean, you want that Lombardi trophy. You don't want to just win your division. You don't want to just win one playoff game. You want what the San Francisco 49ers have done 5 times. And you want what the old Cleveland, the original Cleveland Browns did 4 times before the merger and before the Super Bowl began. So I guess that's the best answer I could give you. But that's how everything transpired. I'm not a big Deshaun Watson fan. I won't buy his jersey. I won't put his picture on my profile. And we know the reason why there. Good luck to the guy. I hope he can play up to that amount of money we're paying him. So we'll wait and see.
You answer your question, David McNiner?
Yep. Oh yeah.
Let's see. What y'all David McNiner? David M. Clark said he thinks we can plug any quarterback into our system because our system is a friendly quarterback. What do you think about that?
A solid quarterback. Let's say a solid.
Okay. I was going to point out C.J. Beathard, Nick Mullins, and Brett Hoyer, but
I don't want to. 1 second before you. I don't want to say any quarterback, but a solid, serviceable quarterback.
And you know that might be true. I mean, Sam Darnold might actually be productive in our system, but the knock on him is he always looks good in practice. He looks good, everywhere. But then you put him in a game, and all of a sudden it's like panic mode, and that'd be the knock on Sam Darnold. I mean, I honestly think Trey Lance. He gives us things that James Richard Garoppolo and Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy is a step up from James Richard Garoppolo, but he gives us things they don't offer, like the long ball. And if he works on his mid to short to mid range game, in this offense he could be deadly. He could easily get into the top 5 QB range if he works on his accuracy in the short and mid range. And it honestly looks like he's been working on his craft more this offseason than previous off seasons. So I'm hoping he takes the job and runs with it because, I mean, think about, Kyle Shanahan has been limited in what he can call because of the limitations on the arms of his quarterbacks. And having a guy that can chuck it 50 to 60 yards downfield in a hurry, though, that he has some serious zip on his ball, opens up the playbook. And it also opens it up for players like Danny Gray, who runs 4.3 40s to, take the top off the defense. And with our running game, our tight end, who can stop an offense with a guy that has a great arm and just opens up the playbook. Then you throw our defense in there too, though, right?
Yeah, not to throw you off with your answer. Yes on everything. I yes. Those are facts you stated. Won't argue. I agree entirely. But you got me to thinking going back, right? I realized the game is not what it was. I'm stuck from 20, 25 years ago. That's when I liked the game best. Not that I hate the game today. It's just the game has evolved and changed to a air raid attack, pass heavy game.
Yeah.
It's changed and developed to where, and this is just based on my theory and just my parameters that I try to set, because there's no right or wrong answer. A franchise, the way the game's played today, a franchise quarterback has to be capable of leading the team, carrying the team on his shoulders, picking up for the defense. He's got to be clutch. He's got to come through with 4 minutes. Garoppolo crumbles under 4 minutes. I'm not throwing him under the bus. I won't go there. I'll start getting off where I wanted to go with this. Quarterbacks have to be able to come through in the clutch, run a 4-minute offense. They have to put up big numbers now. If your franchise quarterback starts all 17 games and he don't zip it for at least 4,000 yards, now the bar has been set high on these quarterbacks. They got to be throwing for over 4,000 yards. I must say, minimum range for a quarterback is 3,800 to 4,300 yards consistently each year if he's going to start for you year in, year out. No less than 3,800 yards. Where I'm getting at, years back when it was really football and you ran smash mouth, the days of Jerome Bettis, which I'm not a Steelers fan, but I love watching Bettis run the hell out of people as long as he wasn't running the hell out of the Cleveland Browns. You go back to the days when it was smash mouth, when you had the power I formation in a real full-blown fullback as a lead blocker. You didn't have to have this great quarterback. You could rely on grinding the clock and pounding the rock and wearing out a defense. And then your defense could step it up and protect the lead. And you could throw, I'm not going to say anybody at quarterback, but if you could find a decent game manager that could hand the ball off and not screw up a handoff and not bubble a handoff, you could win games like that. You didn't have to rely on quarterback play. The game's not like that anymore. Mm-hmm. And I wish it was where, hey, you know what? Mayfield's not playing so well. I'm going back with Mayfield started for us. Mayfield's not playing so well. He's not winning the games for us. We're going to keep him. We're going to step it up on defense. Defense is going to pick it up and carry the team. And we're going to run more. We're going to run it down their throats. And we're going to go for time of possession instead of scoring, which means if you kick a field goal, but during that possession you possess the ball for 8 minutes and 30 seconds, you done good and got points out of it, and you took time off the clock. Not just quick scoring. You got to be able to hit receivers deep. You got to be able to throw the deep ball with that. See, I'm sorry. I like the way the game used to be played. So yes, the bar is set so high for quarterbacks. Again, I'll still go with my theory that San Francisco has a quarterback-friendly system, that you could take a Mayfield, possibly a Darnold, and win games. The only way I could prove my theory is if Brock Purdy could start for the Texans, and then we'd see what we really had. Mm-hmm. Somebody else's turn.
I agree.
Again, theory, my theory.
Okay, John Jay, what you think?
Yeah, so to piggyback off of that, I'm a football traditionalist. Well, what does that mean? It means that the UNFL has moved more to college. I've watched college football since I was like 6, 7 years old. Okay, and even college back then was a traditional format. One quarterback that I think everybody knows who came out of Cal was Aaron Rodgers. He had the worst throwing motion when he was in college. He would hold the ball with 2 hands, and when he would throw the ball, it was so bad. And he had a bad completion percentage. But what did he have? He had Marshawn Lynch. He had good running backs. He had great wide receivers. He had good defense. So He goes to the NFL and he becomes a really great quarterback. But now you look at today. Now quarterbacks are throwing the ball a minimum of 20, completions, throwing the ball minimum about 30 times. Now quarterbacks are throwing the ball about 40 times per game. So the quarterback controls the game now. It's not what it used to be. Because there were moments when like Ben Roethlisberger, Joe Flacco, even Tom Brady were not throwing 4,000 yards. And then after Cam Newton came in, the number started just to go up. I think Cam Newton threw 4,000 yards as a rookie. So it shows you how the game has changed. So back to Kyle Shanahan and his system, like Garoppolo under Kyle's system was a quarterback-friendly offense. And, you saw the strengths of Garoppolo, a very short intermediate guy who threw the ball in the numbers. But when quarterbacks do that, they throw more interceptions. That's why Garoppolo threw a lot of interceptions, not because he was horrible when you throw the ball in the numbers. But then you have someone like Brock Purdy, who's a 7th round, pick, and he has a good team around him. Brock Purdy is way better than Jimmy Garoppolo. He can throw the ball outside. He can throw the ball inside. He can stretch the ball down the field. He's able to, use his mobility by scrambling around and keeping plays alive with his foot. So, yeah.
Not to interrupt you. I want to see Purdy in somebody else's offense, but if San Francisco's not going to let him go, we're not going to see that. But go ahead.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, Brock Purdy has better mobility, better outside, the numbers, inside the numbers, and he can stretch the ball down the field. So you see the different comparisons. I will agree. Say if Brock Purdy was on another team, we don't know. But Brock Purdy and Trey Lance, even Sam Darnold. That's why I'm happy with our quarterback room, because Sam Darnold, he may see ghosts, maybe a little bit overhyped by the media. Kyle can make him work. Kyle can make Trey work as long as he stops running him as a running back, have him throw the football, and Brock Purdy. So I'm good with our quarterback room. I think finally we have a quarterback, someone who's on the roster, and I think we can finally win, and not just win a lot of games this season, win in the postseason, maybe make a deep run for a Super Bowl opportunity. So, yeah, I got to agree with that point. Like, Kyle is a great play designer.
I'm gonna not to get off the subject, but if we compare it today's game, as in back when I enjoyed the game more, okay. It seems as though quarterbacks today are expandable, meaning they'll draft any quarterback as often as they have to. They'll put them under center immediately, day one, week one, with the concept that either he has it or he doesn't. So if he doesn't have it, you're going to know real quick within week 3, 4, 5, or week 8 or wherever. This guy doesn't have it. He's not it. He's not our guy. We got to draft another quarterback next year. Whereas years back, and I agreed with how it used to be, and it's not done this way anymore. I understand it. You had your veteran starting quarterback. You had Brett Favre starting for the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers in the 2005 draft. Cleveland was Alex Smith was taken first overall, San Francisco 49ers. I forgot who went second. And then third was Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns selected wide receiver Braylon Edwards over Aaron Rodgers in the 2005 draft because we'd signed Trent Dilfer as starting quarterback in free agency. Rodgers slides down to 2022, I believe it was. Maybe it was 24. Green Bay picks him up. Favre's not ready to retire. Favre starts another 3 years, and then Aaron Rodgers develops under Favre for 3 years, and Rodgers comes in, and he's a starter in his 4th year. That's how teams back in the 70s and 80s did it. they didn't have to draft a rookie quarterback to come in and start day one because their second string quarterback had already been developing under the veteran 2 to 3 years prior to the veteran going to be retiring. That's how it was done back in the day, which I agree more with that concept. It's not like that anyway. So quarterbacks are expandable as far as I'm concerned. How many quarterbacks' careers have been ruined because they were started there? I guarantee you the Cleveland Browns destroyed Tim Couch. Tim Couch had his head handed to him. I guarantee you that. Anybody can look and see that. So, again, today's game, quarterbacks that came in and started, of course, I'm not saying the exceptions would be your John Elways, your Dan Marinos. That was a hell of a quarterback draft class, 1983. But to get back to where we're saying, and then, like I said, these quarterbacks, they're either going to have it or they don't, and you're going to know real quick if he's your guy or not. If he's not your guy, they're going to discard you and throw you away. So I wish you could take more time and develop a guy. That's just not the way it's done. So hopefully these kids coming out of college, they can pick up the game quick. And quarterback needy teams, hopefully these players won't get ruined right away. That's all I got for now.
Steve, what you think? What's you got any questions for David and Clark?
Any input, anything?
You say something, Carter? Sorry,
Yeah.
I was ordering a drink. I caught half of what you said.
I said, do you have anything to say about that, or do you
I
have
mean,
questions for David and Clark?
My whole thing is, look, like, we're the Niners, we got a reputation, you know what I mean? It is what it is, but, like, I just get bugged when people call everybody, like, you're a GOAT, you're this and that. Like, if I told you who's a GOAT receiver, hands down, it is Jerry Rice, right? Now, if I
Yep.
told you hands down who's the GOAT as a running back, who's the GOAT? You might be Emmitt Smith, not me. I'm a AP guy. It changes, but like I think we throw it out too often, and that's why I said what I said earlier, because it bugs me, because I understand content creation is a little bit different, but like let's keep it 100. You know what I mean? Like nobody's gonna say Cone is the GOAT, right? Like, let's just keep it how it is. Like, if you respect what somebody says, that's how it is, you know, and that's why I said what I said earlier. Like, nobody's going to disagree with Jerry Rice as the GOAT, right? But everybody wants to bring Tom Brady as the GOAT, and he's got some stuff on his resume that makes him not the GOAT. He does, you know. So
Like some cheating for one, some favoritism for the referees for another, some rule changes where you're not allowed, some special rule changes for Brady where you're not allowed to touch him. Yeah, I mean, Joe Montana got fucking crushed with a vicious hit by Tom Burt, New York Giants. And when Montana got plastered that championship game, he didn't lay on the field and wait for him to stop the game. The trainers picked him up and walked him in the locker room, and he should have been carried off on a stretcher. Today's game, and that's the only other thing. The unique situation San Francisco had, they had Steve Young waiting for Joe Montana. You had a perfect situation there. Because I remember when I watched Steve Young in the late 80s fill in for Montana when Montana had to miss games for injury. I said, shit, San Francisco's backup is just as good as Montana. I said, yeah.
Right. So let me ask you, who is your best quarterback as a Browns fan?
It's Otto Graham before my lifetime. Otto Graham went to 10 championships and won 8.
Well, that was,
but the league only recognizes 4 of them.
Well, that was before my lifetime. Like I remember Bernie Kosar.
My lifetime. So within my life, best Cleveland Browns quarterback within my lifetime would have been Brian Sipe, because Brian Sipe earned league MVP in 1980, and he threw for a franchise high 4,133 yards passing, which was unheard of in 1980. The only other quarterback that did that in 1980 was Dan Fouts of the San Diego Chargers.
And see, that's the
But-
problem with nowadays is that we have like, instant, we're gonna evaluate people instantly because of what they did right now. In the 90s, we didn't have that, you know what I mean? So that's why we already had the Joe Montana, Steve Young thing. Yeah, okay, it was a somewhat debate. You like, but now it's like so overblown. Where like in your franchise of the Browns is like it's never been that way.
I mean, the other franchise quarterback we had was Bernie Kosar, but Kosar was not declared for the NFL draft in 1982 because he said that in 1983 because he said that he would only play for the Cleveland Browns. So Bernie Kosar went to the United States Football League, which only lasted.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, which only lasted 2 years. So after he played 1 year in the USFL, he was eligible as an unrestricted free agent in 1984. So in 1984, the Cleveland Browns signed Bernie Kosar, and Cleveland did not start Kosar. Cleveland started Gary Danielson, and they allowed Kosar to develop 1 year under Danielson. The
But I
following
mean,
year,
after that, who has been your best quarterback after that?
after Kosar,
Correct.
nobody. The only three franchise quarterbacks Cleveland has had was Otto Graham before my lifetime, Brian Sipe when I was 13 years old, and Bernie Kosar between my ages at 19 and 21. Since then, we have not had a franchise quarterback. We were lucky that Mayfield was able to start and finish a 17-game regular season schedule. I mean,
So
Cleveland
I got to get out of here because I'm like eight drinks in at the bar. But so if you were to start our quarterbacks, who would you start on the Niners week 1?
I'll say this again, like I said at the beginning of this podcast, Trey Lance, because of how much you paid and traded to get up and get him. You didn't draft Trey Lance 3rd overall to set him on the bench and have a 7th round draft pick start in front of him. If you're not going to start Trey Lance, trade him. As long as Trey Lance is on that roster, he better be started. If not, there's something that's not a real good look there, if you ask me.
I mean, I agree, but on the other hand, like we say 3 first, right? Well, it was a pick swap, so the other 2 picks were obviously the Cowboys guy, and then 1 pick got taken away. So, I mean, they're pretty much 2nd round picks. So I don't think it's as bad as everybody looks at it from the outside. You know what I mean?
Wait a second, clarify that to me.
So
You're telling me they're basically how are you telling us that the 2 first-round picks you traded for Trey Lance are basically 2nd round picks? I'm not buying it. How are you trying to make a 1st-round pick as it's only a 2nd round pick?
So Micah Parsons would have been our 12th round pick, correct?
Okay.
And that's a pretty good dang pick. I would have liked that guy. Not saying that we could afford him, but Micah Parsons was the other one. Can you name the other 2?
I'm not a 49ers fan. I wouldn't know.
So
Okay. Go ahead.
What he's saying is that if the Niners did not trade, the Niners would have had the number 12 pick. So the team who picked that number 12 was the Cowboys. The Cowboys would have drafted Micah Parsons. So hypothetically, we would have drafted Micah Parsons. I don't really think that was going to happen. We're going to take a quarterback no matter what.
Correct.
So when it comes to the compensation, because the 49ers made it to the NFC Championship game, doesn't matter what the record is, the picks were going to be at the bottom.
Correct.
So basically, what he's trying to say is that even the picks would have been like early second rounders, like 33, 34 around that point, no matter what, because we made it to the conference championship games. So that's what he was trying to say with the compensation.
And Miami actually lost last year's first round pick, something for, I don't know why, if it was tampering or whatever.
So technically, yeah.
Correct.
Do you know, John Jay? Do you know why they lost that?
They tampered when
Tom Brady.
So the Tom Brady, when they were trying to talk to Tom Brady, that's illegal. So technically, the Niners lost one first round pick.
All right. Well, whatever theory you just tried to tell me that I'm still confused by, and I'm not blasting you. I'm not trying to come at you. I'm not trying to call you out. I'm just saying I am confused. I will remain confused. So whatever you just tried to tell me about, basically you gave up 2 second-round picks for Trey Lance instead of 2 first-round picks. Okay. I would like to see you take what you just said and put it that Cleveland did the same thing with Deshaun Watson, because the Cleveland Browns traded 3 first-round draft picks to the Houston Texans to acquire Deshaun Watson.
And that
and
was
if you think I'm going to go back and tell all of our fan base, well, basically they weren't first-round draft picks, they were just there, I'm not going to do that. If you can find a way to do that and change the narrative that for the Deshaun Watson, I'd like to hear that. That'd be interesting. But I'm not.
So
that's all I'm saying. I'm
confused. So I'm going to simplify it very well. So this was a trade for Trey Lance. Okay, our 12th pick, and then the 2022 and 2023 picks. So technically, we swap picks, and whatever first round selections the Niners were going to be selecting went to the Dolphins. Okay. Now, what we're trying to say is, in 2021, the Niners were supposed to draft number 29 or 30, which is sort of like just a couple of picks before the second round. So basically, we're like 2-3 picks away from the second round. So what we're saying is that it's second round selections at that point. And then in 2023, Miami had the 29th or 30th pick again, 2-3 picks before the second rounder. So that's what we're trying to say is that no matter what, the picks were at the second round area, because 32 is, the last pick. 31 is two picks away from the second round. So once you get to the 30, you're technically entering the second round territory. That's what we're trying to say.
And I just want to apologize to the Browns fan because I don't know your name and I came in late because I'm bar hopping, this and that, whatever. But I will let you know that our original goal was to spend 3 first-round draft picks on Deshaun Watson, before all the BS happened. That was our original goal before the Trey Lance thing. That was our goal. So, for what it's worth.
Yeah, we were actually, our management was actually thinking about it. But when it comes to character issues, they will not touch someone with character issues. They did back in 2017, a guy named Reuben Foster.
I remember him.
We obviously ended up cutting him because he beat his wife or girlfriend.
Woman beater, middle linebacker.
Which is now his wife. They're actually married. So just to let everyone know what ended up happening there. They're married now.
Yeah, that's interesting. What I'm gathering here is San Francisco 49ers fans are set on Trey Lance not being a starter. And that's fine. But to me, I think a mistake was made there if he's not going to start. That's just the way I'm going to stand on it. It's opinionated. I can agree to disagree, but
hey, I want Trey Lance to start.
Yeah,
damn straight. Damn straight. The things he can do, I want him to start.
But the Cleveland Browns gave up 3 first-round draft picks for Deshaun Watson. No matter what I'm saying, you could slice that pizza pie as many different ways as you want. It's still a pizza pie, no matter how you slice it.
I know. Well, yeah. Well, like, and I want to speak about, like, like, not my fan base, but just my perspective. I'm a 49er fan, 100%. I don't care about opinions of anybody else. They can go kick rocks, and have their cookie, whatever. The point is that I want Trey Lance to start, okay? Because Kyle said this was my guy. This is my guy. I want him to start. But now you're piggybacking off. Oh, Brock Purdy did a good job. Trey Lance didn't show me nothing last year. Wait a second. Are you contradicting yourself, Kyle Shanahan? Your quarterback got hurt because of your play call. So you're penalizing him because he got hurt. And the guy who came in after Jimmy got hurt played well enough that he's like, if he wasn't hurt, he's my guy. So that's the disconnect.
No, hold up. You can't say that Purdy got hurt because of Kyle's play call, because the next freaking week, Andy Reid called the same play call and they scored a touchdown to tie the game, and nobody complained about it, just like they didn't complain the week before when Debo scored it, and nobody complained because he didn't get hurt. So you can't say it's Kyle's play call.
Okay, I'll simplify where I stand on this. It'll be a lot simpler. I think you guys agree with it. Corey, I'll let you be judge and jury on this, all right? Allow Trey Lance and Brock Purdy to compete. I'll retract how I stand on it. I was saying Lance should start. I'm going to take that back now. After listening to you guys, I'm going to change my thought process on that. Allow Brock Purdy and Trey Lance to compete for the starting position in training camp. If Trey Lance can beat out Brock Purdy for the starting position, then Trey Lance should earn the starting position. Beat him out. If Brock Purdy beats him out, then Purdy wins. So I would agree that you can't just automatically now slate Trey Lance as a starter just because of what you traded the draft compensation for him. Now he has to earn his roster spot. Now he has to compete with Brock Purdy, and he has to win the starting position over. Would you guys agree? That sound rational and realistic? Does that sound real?
That does sound realistic, and that's more than likely what's going to happen.
Yeah.
All right.
But at this point, though, we don't even know if Brock Purdy's going to be ready by the time the season starts.
Yeah, and
He's still in the rehab process.
I know, and so
be glad you have depth at quarterback.
Yes.
I'm happy for you.
I know,
I'm
and
happy you guys got depth.
So I'm going to finish my point. So here's the point. Okay, here's the point. So as a head coach, and like Kyle Shanahan, the thing that he is different than all the other good successful head coaches, not just right now, but in history. Those coaches had basically the balls to say, this is my guy. They never sugarcoated it. There were moments where, like, you had like a first-year coach, they drafted the quarterback, they had a veteran, and they would always say this: the veteran is a starter, the rookie, if he beats out the veteran, is the quarterback. And even the media hated, those responses, but that's how coaches used to have the balls to say it. Kyle is like wishy-washy. If he thinks Brock Purdy is ready, if he believes he's ready week 1, then say, oh, Brock Purdy's going to start if he's ready week 1. Why does he not want to say that? Okay? So at the end of the day, to simplify anything, for the safety of Brock Purdy, for the safety and the well-being and health of Brock Purdy, you do not rush a quarterback who had surgery. If you are that desperate because you like him, because he impressed you, and he gets hurt, then you see the leadership. If I was Kyle Shanahan, I said Brock Purdy could miss week 1. He could miss week 18. We have Trey Lance. He's ready. He knows the offense. But if Brock Purdy's ready, I would bring him in. So that's what I'm saying. I don't hate on Kyle Shanahan. I'm saying that when it comes to the decision, that's why everyone is making a big deal. Like, well, Sam Darnold is going to start. No, Brock Purdy's going to start. No, Trey Lance is like, okay. Now we're all being stupid and listening to the dumb things. So at the end of the day, like I just want to make that point. I personally do not care who the quarterback is. I want a quarterback to start 17 games and do that year after year after year. I'm tired of Jimmy doing okay and then missing some time and doing okay. I'm tired of that. I want a quarterback to start.
And
Okay, well, I tell you what, Corey, I hope Trey Lance emerges, and I hope this third overall draft pick pays off for you. And if it adds depth to your depth chart at quarterback, and you got Lance and Purdy on the same team, ain't nothing wrong with that. And I hope this Lance has a chance to have a career and not become a bust. So this is his year to go out and prove himself.
Steve-O. And John Jay didn't say that because he wasn't talking about Brock Purdy. He was talking about Trey Lance running up the middle. The play that he called. That's what he's talking about. John Jay was talking about. He didn't say nothing about Brock Purdy. He said about Trey Lance running up the middle.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, we're just going back around in circles. The conversations we've had for like the past 2 years is like every time we talk about a quarterback, it always somehow gets heated. But it's because they're like everyone is so inconsistent. With what's the right thing to do. But at the end of the day, the comment, if you just want to you're like everyone says, everyone's in their feelings. Okay, let's take their words. They're the ones using their feelings. I want a quarterback to stay upright for 17 games, be successful, do it again, then do it again, and do it again consistently for a decade.
Yeah,
I'm tired of this show. I'm tired of this show. Like I'm a real 49er fan. Like after Jeff Garcia left, we had Rattay, Pickett, then we drafted Alex Smith. We had Sean Hill. Then we put JT O'Sullivan. And then after that, then we put back Sean Hill. Then Sean Hill was garbage. Then they put Alex Smith. He was successful, but he wasn't winning. And then Harbaugh came in and made Alex Smith pretty good. And then Colin Kaepernick was really good.
Forget about Cap.
And then we had to go through all those boring quarterbacks, Blaine Gabbert, and then after that, then we had Ryan Hoyer because Kyle,
we had Hoyer.
System. He wasn't winning games, but we were putting points on it, but we weren't winning games. And then we put Beathard, and then we put Mullins, and then Jimmy Garoppolo. I've seen this show before, and I'm tired of it.
Hey, we had some of those quarterbacks. We had Mullins as backup. We had Jeff Garcia one season. And we had Brian Hoyer as a starter. So we've had a few of your quarterbacks. So these quarterbacks have gotten around on both our teams. Some of them.
Yeah. And I remember, and I've told this to a Giants content creator. They were blasting posters. And they were putting commercials. Right? They're comparing Joe Montana to Alex Smith. I remember those damn commercials when I was a kid. And I'm like, dude, you're going to set this kid out for failure. And you know what? I'm going to say this. I've never said this to you guys. I've never been wrong. I'm always right. So I'm sick and tired of this bullshit. My bad, Corey, but I'm just tired of it. And since I've been a content creator, it's about the quarterback that stays upright. Okay, because everyone's been saying when Jimmy Garoppolo, they crowned him the next Montana. Then he sucked, and they did the same thing to Colin Kaepernick. This fan base is the most spoiled fan base. And I agree with Patriots fans and other fan base. We're the most spoiled team. And we act like we're supposed to be in the Super Bowl year after year. But I'm going to digress.
I want to ask something. You got a second, Corey? Look, I pay attention to people's mannerisms, right? No offense to John Jay, but John Jay has two mannerisms. He always says, at the end of the day, and he always says to tell you the truth. Like everybody has their own mannerisms. Like I want to ask, do I have my own? Because I don't know that I do, and I'm just curious if I do.
Well, I don't have any mannerism. I have OCD and I'm dyslexic, so all of these phrases are basically a coping mechanism. Don't know why I have to, have to defend that, but it is what it is.
No, no, I'm not attacking you. I'm just saying, like, I could name you 5 people that I could tell you, Rudy always says the same things, and you know, and you have a couple of them, and everybody has a couple of them, and I'm just, I'm at the bar. I'm not trying to accuse anybody. I'm just asking if I have any of them that you guys notice, because I'm curious if I have them.
I don't know. I can't go there right now. Um, yes, that's all. John Jay, I'm tired of all this. Tired of quarterbacks. We're going to so many different quarterbacks. I just want our quarterback to be healthy. I want to root for the quarterback that has the 49ers in front of him. And if he's on the center, that's who I'm going to root for. I can't go no more. I'm tired of. I can't wait till we get to say Trey Lance is our guy, or Brock Purdy is our guy, or Sam Donald is our guy.
Who cares? I mean, because just John, just so you don't take offense, like Rudy always says, yes, indeed, yes, indeed. You know what I mean? Like, I just pick up on people's manners, but I wasn't trying to pick you up personally. I was just at the time, you know what I mean? Like, just asking if I have them because I don't know that I have them because I don't listen to myself. So I wasn't towards you directly.
But any more questions for David and Clark? Anybody?
Oh, what are your thoughts on the rumors of the Cleveland Browns moving?
A lot of that's going to happen if the city of Cleveland renovates the stadium to Jimmy Haslam's specifications. They're talking about trying to renovate the current stadium and put a retractable roof on top of it. So I'm hoping that if they get those plans developed and they can renovate the stadium and give them a retractable roof, I'm hoping that that might be able to put that rumor to bed. So I right now I would allow the city of Cleveland time to negotiate with Mr. Haslam and come up with a resolution before we get too far ahead of ourselves. That is a possibility, but I know that the lease on that current stadium runs out in 2029. So for the next 7 seasons, we're going to have a team for at least 7 more years. He can't move the team prior to 2020. He can't move the team prior to 2029. So between now and then, hopefully they'll come up with a resolution and give him a stadium that he wants with a retractable roof and be able to resolve that issue because it always is a possibility, and I can't project that far in advance. I wouldn't hit the panic button right now because we're 7 years out, but that is a possibility, and I understand how a rumor like that could float around.
So in your schedule, I'm trying to think of what is what is like your 3 toughest games?
Right now, it's
That's the way, right?
definitely going to be Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati, and we got all three of those in week 4.
I mean, I was a big Watson fan before he went to Cleveland, but now I'm just like, I'm just gonna watch and see what happens because the guy had one of the best records as far as behind this. What the fuck is going on? Sorry, I gotta go. But before that, like, he had one of the best impeccable records as a QB like in the league. So I don't know what to believe or not, but I gotta go.
All right, have a good one.
Be safe there, Steve-O.
All right, man. You take it easy.
Hey, Corey, right here. Week 1, we open up with Cincinnati. Week 2, we're at Pittsburgh. Week 3, we got Tennessee Titans. Week 4, we got Baltimore. We're going to the bye week, week 5. Week 6, we got San Francisco at home. Week 7, we're at Indianapolis. Then we're at Seattle. That's going to be a tough game. Arizona Cardinals at home, at Baltimore. Pittsburgh at home. At Denver. I hate playing at Denver. I hate going out there. At LA Rams. I hate going out there. Jacksonville Jaguars. Chicago. At Houston Texans. That's a win. New York Jets at home. I'd love to win against them. At Cincinnati. 3 toughest games will be Baltimore, Cincinnati. Baltimore, Cincinnati, and
Oh, come on. You can list us, you know.
at first I said all 3 division games, but I can't just pick all 3 in my division. Baltimore, Cincinnati. And Seattle, because we play at Seattle. If we were playing at San Francisco, I'd say at San Francisco. We play like shit on the West Coast.
Brian Coe says, I think DTR can get Cleveland to the Super Bowl.
I'm sorry, DTR?
That the quarterback you guys drafted from UCLA.
I'd never seen the guy play. I mean, have you guys seen film on this kid from UCLA?
I have. He's a product of the Chip Kelly system, like when Mariota, and I don't know what other quarterbacks he had, but Mariota really was very successful. So if you just look at Mariota, Marcus Mariota, what he's done in the NFL. I'm not saying he's been very successful, but he's had good moments in the NFL. But at the same time, he's a project. You have to develop him to basically he can stretch the ball down the field. He did play against Pac-12 talent, which is not considered like the SEC and all the other good conferences. But he has a good mobility. He can run the football. I would call him like a watered down Jalen Hurts, but a better accurate thrower down the field.
Okay.
Yeah. So who you feel that's who gonna win your division? If it's not the Cleveland Browns, who?
Dorian Thompson. Hold on, Corey. Dorian Thompson Robinson. 6'1", 191 pounds. UCLA. 23 years old rookie. No, man, I'm sorry. He's not gonna. No, it's not gonna happen with this kid. I'm looking at him right now, so it's not gonna happen with him.
Mhm.
I like him saying that, or he's trying to see if I'm gonna take bait, but no.
I know, like he's a developmental project. He could be like a good career backup that could have like a better upside. So say like a veteran, gets hurt, he can drive that car until the veteran comes back. But besides that, I don't think he will be like anything extraordinary. But he has a lot of talent coming out of UCLA.
Okay.
What were
Again,
you saying before, Corey?
who's winning in your division? Who's winning the division? Who you think will win
Anybody but Pittsburgh. I hope Pittsburgh don't take it. I'll tell you what, I really feel Lamar Jackson is overrated. His style, I don't care if his style of play. Joe Burrow, Cincinnati will take the North again, and we'll have to hear shit from the Cincinnati Bengals fans again. 3 years in a row. Cincinnati, Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll have to hear about it again.
Mm-hmm. I like Lamar Jackson, because I don't like I just like Lamar, like the way he carries himself, the way he talks. He's like I don't care if I'm not throwing the football like all the other quarterbacks. Like he wants to win. The problem is that the last 2 seasons, his playing style has been getting him hurt, and so you want him to become more of a passer, and so a lot of his fan base, I know a really good Ravens content creator. He's a really good dude, Darwin. He's very smart. But I know another Ravens fan. He's very delusional, and he's also a little bit toxic. But he talks about how his team's going to win the division. They're going to win 13 games. Like he doesn't know anything about his team, but he's just a homer.
Yeah, Homer fans. We get a lot of them. I mean, I was a Homer fan when I was 13 and 19. I could go back to every Cleveland Browns loss and reanalyze it, make up the excuses of why we shouldn't have lost or why the other team shouldn't have got this play and that play. Being fantasized Homer, but I was between the ages of 13 and 19 when I did that. But today, I take my losses. We get hit with a loss. That San Francisco game, as long as we don't lose 33-3 again, like we did the one year we went out to play them on Monday Night Football, I'll be okay. If we come up short like 31-28 or something and we're in the game, I can go live with Corey and not be too burned up about it. But that 33-3 loss, Corey had to go live with me in the group on Monday night, man. That hurt at that time. I was that's a tough loss. I took the loss. That's agonizing when you don't even show up on Monday Night Football.
May 90, you have anything else?
Oh, no. I mean, being in a division with Joe Burrow's got to be something else. That guy's he was good. Then he got hurt. Then he comes back and it's like, dang, and he's going to get better. That's the kind of scary thing there.
Mm-hmm.
He could end up and he's still young. I'm not saying it's going to happen yet, but he could end up having a Hall of Fame style career.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you want to base it on players' numbers that I'll throw out there, not to change the subject, If you want to base it on Hall of Fame quarterbacks like Joe Namath and Troy Aikman, and based on their numbers, then yeah, Joe Burrow, if that's what we're going to base on, and based on those numbers, then yeah. Because Joe Namath's numbers were not extraordinary, neither was Aikman's.
No.
Mhm.
I mean,
That's true.
if you want to go by stats, but I don't know if they gave it to Aikman because he had 15 fourth quarter comeback drives or something, and plus the 3 rings. And Joe Namath, why he got Hall of Fame is because he was the NFL icon. So, but yeah, I mean, Burrow could possibly get. He could possibly have a Hall of Fame career, possibly, if he doesn't get hurt.
Mhm.
We'll see.
I know, like, one thing, again, I'm not a Cowboys fan, but like everyone knows that, Troy Aikman never threw for 4,000 yards, any
Yeah,
time of his career.
he was 3,500 yards a season. He had Emmitt Smith all the time.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I
he
look
gets
at
into the Hall of Fame.
I look at Burrow like this, like skill wise, and what he's able to do. He's a top 5 quarterback. He's a top 5 quarterback. He may even be a top 3 quarterback in the league. He could be a number 1 quarterback, but he's up there, a minimum of top 5. So he's good. I've seen him like run the ball. He knows how to slide to avoid the hits. Of course, he has a good strong arm. He has good pocket awareness. Like basically, he checks the boxes of the abilities you need to be a quarterback. And of course, stats don't tell the full story, but you still need to have good numbers. Good numbers. Now, what are good numbers? That's another question mark. Is it 300 yards and 4 touchdowns? Like, what is the number that makes him good? I think if he's able to, eliminate turnovers, not throw interceptions, not lose the ball, avoid sacks, like basically the skills on the field to make him make the plays. I think Joe Burrow is right now could be catching up to Patrick Mahomes. And I've said this, as a joke, but I'm starting to realize it in the next 10 years, Joe Burrow could have 1, 2, maybe if he's fortunately 3 Super Bowls in the next decade. Maybe I'm just a little bit because what he did in college, but like he's done a lot for that organization.
Okay,
So,
it's interesting that you bring that up, and can I elaborate with you on that regarding Joe Burrow? What was interesting, Corey, and Corey, I wish I would have tagged you on the post when this shit happened. I had a guy in 32 NFL Teams Warzone group. That's my group. Me and Corey run. Corey's our 49ers admin. We got in a conversation on thread. We're just typing comments on the comments. No personal attacks or anything. We're just debating, right? All I stated on my on the post, because somebody said something about who's the guy that went to the Houston Texans? Was it C.J. Stroud that played for Ohio State? Stroud.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All I stated was Ohio State has not had a starting quarterback in the NFL that succeeded. And I put, when's the last time a quarterback that started Ohio State came to the NFL and succeeded on any team? Well, this guy got in a long debate with me, and it went into circles, and we kept typing and I'm the type of guy, and I'll admit, and Corey knows me this way. If you get me started on a post in the group, and we're into it, and I'm OCD too also. Somebody here said they were, I am OCD. Not Freddie Mercury. Once you get me started on a post and we start typing, I won't stop until you tap out. I'll keep the shit going if we go in circles. I'm going to keep that going. And I'm going to get the last comment in until you get tired and you go to bed for the night and you forget about it. That's me. Corey knows me. Corey knows I do that shit. So I'm answering, he's answering, and we're going back and forth on comments. So finally, he stated that, well, And no disrespect to Dwayne Haskins. I'm sorry he died and had his career in it early. I wish we could have seen what the kid really could have done. He had to bring Dwayne Haskins into it, and he had to make a Dwayne Haskins Joe Burrow comparison. He said, look, Dwayne Haskins beat out Joe Burrow for the starting position at Ohio State, so Burrow had to go to LSU. And he was trying to say that if you take these Ohio State quarterbacks that get drafted in the NFL and put them in the right situation, they'll succeed at the NFL level. And I tried to tell him, I said, okay. I said, look what happened to Dwayne Haskins. Again, no disrespect, not trying to. He didn't pan out like they thought. He got drafted in the first round of Washington Commanders. He made a bad off-the-field decision. And what he got involved at a nightclub, a strip club, and they caught him. He gets picked up by the Pittsburgh Steelers. He can't beat out Ben Roethlisberger, and he's a backup. And then, of course, his tragic ending. He died, unfortunately, and we're sorry to hear this. But we don't know what could have happened to the kid. We could say that had he remained with Pittsburgh, he would probably be a backup. So he tried to say that Haskins was good enough to beat out Joe Burrow, and I said, are you trying to tell me that had the Cincinnati Bengals drafted Dwayne Haskins instead of Joe Burrow, are you trying to tell me that Haskins would have won two divisional titles for Cincinnati, and Haskins would have taken Cincinnati to the Super Bowl to lose the LA Rams, and would have taken them to the second AFC Championship game to lose the Kansas City Chiefs? I said, if you're trying to tell me that, I said, there's something wrong with you. And at the same time, you're trying to say that had the Washington Commanders drafted Joe Burrow would have had the same career in Washington and not succeeded. So that's where we went with this Joe Burrow, Dwayne Haskins comparison. I don't know what somebody's trying to throw out there. I simply stated a fact. When's the last time a quarterback from Ohio State has succeeded? Troy Smith didn't. Who was the other guy? Terrell Pryor didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Who was the Jones guy, the big Jones guy that went to Buffalo? Cardell Jones. Cardell Jones did. And now where's this CJ Stroud going to go with Houston? And he's going to Houston. So I'm not willing to put much money on a quarterback coming out of Ohio State.
What about Chicago Bears quarterback?
Oh, wow.
Oh boy.
Well, Justin Fields, he's worthy to finish. He's worthy to finish his rookie contract. I got no problem letting Fields finish out his rookie contract. It's going to be what he does after that, and they pick up his fifth-year option. So let's give him another year to be under center and develop some more. I'm for the old school. Let the kid develop some more. I'm not this put him in there. If he doesn't have it, we'll just discard him like he's nothing. But that's the theory nowadays.
Yeah. Like we know a homer, and he's a little bit delusional as well, a Bears fan, who says they're going to go 12 wins this year because last year he didn't have receivers. He didn't have an offensive line. You know, he's a homer. And I said, okay. But you do know just because, you know, you got better prospects from college the last 3 years doesn't mean you guys are going to win 12 games. Justin Fields has potential. Now, will he succeed in Chicago? I say no. And I'm an Ohio State Buckeyes fan. I love the Buckeyes. But Justin Fields, I think he could have gone in a different situation, and I think he would have been more successful than going to Chicago, in my opinion. But again, I agree. Like Ohio State quarterbacks, you can't even name one. Even like going back to the early days, like they don't produce. And Dwayne Haskins, like he ran the air raid offense. That's why he was so successful. All the quarterbacks there run that shotgun formation. They're never under center. and that's why they always succeed. If you have a strong arm, you're going to succeed. But besides that, Ohio State quarterbacks don't develop all their other skills.
Well, overall, there have been 19 quarterbacks from Ohio State in the NFL, and so far 0 have been successful and done anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what?
And
For me,
this is including Justin Fields, and the new hasn't even made a start yet. CJ Stroud. That 19 actually includes them.
for me, not to interrupt you, but I'll interject real quick here. For Justin Fields, if he can hold down a roster spot and maintain a starting position and start those games and just maintain a starting position, that's good enough for me. I want to see Fields maintain that position as a starter. Not be a Mitchell Trubisky. See, Trubisky wasn't with Ohio State. I'm talking about Chicago quarterbacks.
What I was thinking of, I was thinking something about this is a 49 question, but it's for you. Speaking of Hall of Fame, why, in your opinion, Mr. Clark, why do you think Roger Craig haven't been made it to the Hall of Fame?
Unless they think other candidates are higher ballot than him, I guess it's not his time to get in yet. He's worthy of a position in the Hall of Fame. I don't know what the process is there. Unless the class he's getting outvoted in, that's hard for me to voice an opinion on that. If we want to base it on accolades alone, Roger Craig definitely deserves in the Hall of Fame based on his accolades. Well, I think people are going by stats, and if they don't have stats, well, what are his stats? What are his stats being compared to? But accolades, he belongs in the Hall of Fame. So I would have to say, if it was my guess, his stats aren't where they want him to be to have that first ballot Hall of Fame selection. What is your opinion, Corey?
I don't know. That's the thing. Some people say because he made that one fumble, but a lot of all these players in the Hall of Fame made a mistake, so it can't be that. I don't know why, because this man had over 1,000 yards receiving or 1,000 yards rushing.
Well, I could tell you that Ernest Biner for Cleveland, even if he amassed better stats, or even if he ever would have accumulated stats good enough, and he's not Hall of Fame, but if there would be something to keep somebody like an Ernest Biner out of the Hall of Fame, even if he amassed stats worthy of Hall of Fame status, that one fumble at Denver that cost us the game would null and void that for him because of that one fumble. Even though on that fumble, clearly our wide receiver, Webster Slaughter, all he had to do was get in the way of Jeremiah Castile. Jeremiah Castile was the defensive back guarding Slaughter. On that draw play with Biner, when he fumbled at the 2-yard line at Denver in the championship game, all Slaughter had to do was get in the way of Castile, but he didn't do that. Slaughter And Castile backed off 5 yards. He didn't play man bump. He didn't bump him on that play. He backed off 5 yards. Gave cushion so he could have a better view of the play developing. Slaughter took 2 steps and cleared off to the left and turned around to watch the play. It just stood there to watch Biner run. All Slaughter had to do was get in front. He didn't even have to block. He didn't even have to block Jeremiah Castile. All he had to do was get in his way, like you said, a basketball pick. And Biner would have gone in and scored. Castile had a free shot at Biner to strip the ball and rip it right out of his hands because Webster Slaughter didn't do what he should have done. He just had a free shot at it. So overall, it's not Biner's fault that he got that the ball got whipped out of his hands. I mean, that goes on Slaughter. But anyways, if Roger Craig had some type of a critical fumble like that the championship game, maybe that's why he's not going to Hall of Fame now. Because I could see that happening to Ernest Biner. If Biner ever would have had a stats worthy of Hall of Fame stats, which he does. So was it a critical fumble, Corey, during a critical game, a championship game that cost?
I believe so. Yep. Right, David McNiner?
All right. There, my opinion, that right there, that's haunting him. That's the we call it. That's the thorn in his side that's preventing him from gaining that Hall of Fame status. And the same thing would happen to Biner.
Yeah.
You fumbled in that big game when they were counting on you, and they're looking at it like, well, he didn't take care of the football at a crucial moment.
Yep. Yeah, like Roger Craig, good stats, very consistent player throughout his career, but he had a fumbling issue, and but at the same time, like my argument is that Brett Favre, who has the most interceptions in NFL history, only won one Super Bowl, through a lot of interceptions. And for those who remember this, his last postseason game when he played against the Saints, where he threw that interception, like that dumb interception, he didn't have to do that. All they needed was like 10 or 15 yards for a field goal, and he threw a dumb interception, and it was almost taken away for interception touchdown. So, like, if you're going to go with that, because I don't know how many Super Bowls Roger Craig, I got to go the double check. But if he has more than one Super Bowl, he should be in the NFL, because Brett Favre only has one Super Bowl, and I think he has like over 250 interceptions. So, just look, that's my 2 cents about that. But I do think Roger Craig should be in the Hall of Fame. A big content creator. He does a call-in show, and he lets you speak. There was a caller who said that they've always had a bit of bias to the Niners. I don't know if that's true. It's just a caller's opinion, but I do think he should be in the Hall of Fame.
David McNiner, what you think?
I think there are running backs like a Terrell Davis that didn't have quite the production numbers. So, and Terrell Davis is in the Hall of Fame. So I think Roger Craig, winning those Super Bowls, he's in the 1,000 club. Yeah, he deserves a spot. There are players that don't have his resume that are in there.
Okay. Now, I know this is the 49ers team, but in the Browns team, but Davian Clark, why do you think no team has signed DeAndre Hopkins?
I can't. I have no facts to present on that. If you want to base it on my opinion, and I'm just throwing anything up against the wall to see if it sticks or not. My guess would be, and I could be totally wrong, is they're questioning if he has anything left in the tank and what type of relationship he had with Kyler Murray there in Arizona. And I don't know if Kyler Murray and people out there threw him under the bus and gave him damaged his name and reputation or what, but I'm sure there's questions that is he washed up, or if his agent's asking for too much money, there's a money issue there and what his full market value is listed as. So if they don't feel he's worth his full market value, then they're going to wait for that. They're going to wait. Teams are probably waiting for his stock to drop to obtain him at a lower market value, if that makes sense. So teams aren't going to be desperate to get the first grab at him, and his agent could say, well, we want top dollar over market value. So he'll go somewhere, but it'll be after his stock drops.
And I know, John Jay, we most of us answered this question last night, but let me hear your take again.
Yeah, when it comes to Hopkins, he's not a bad receiver. Now he is catching up on age. I think he's probably 30 years old now.
Yep.
So that's one factor.
Yep.
In football, once you get to that 30-year-old range, if you're not the quarterback, your value starts to drop.
Yep.
And that's why all these young guys are cashing in, these big contracts when they have the first opportunity. So now there's also a thing that when you waive a player or you cut them, they go to the waiver wire and you go by order. So the Bears had technically the first round pick. They traded, but so does he want to go to the Bears? Okay. Then the number 2 pick, I think the Texans had it. Does he want to go over there? So then he has to look at the options. So once he basically like the league says, all right, do you want to go to the Bears? No. Do you want to go to the Texans and then the Panthers, etc.? And then you start getting lower and lower. Then you start going to a team that could be a good playoff team, but maybe need Hopkins. But at the same time, maybe he wants to go to a playoff team and maybe they don't want him. So there's a lot of issues when it comes to Hopkins. I think this is what's going to happen. I think a team between 12 and 20 that is technically like a team that's trying to be a playoff contender and a team that was a playoff team, but they want to get over the hump is going to pick them up. At the same time, if Hopkins is asked, I want to get paid like the number 1 receiver, I don't think he's going to get that. So I think there's a lot of factors. So I think he's waiting for the right team in the waiver wire, and he's looking also for the best offer.
That's well said, yeah.
And May Niner, I know you answered it already too last night, but let Dave hear what you have to say about it.
So sorry, I was on the phone for a second. What's the subject?
Hopkins.
Why Hopkins? I don't think he had been signed yet. The question we had last night
was injury. The last 2 years, he got the PED suspension, but then he's also struggling with like hamstrings and other issues, and I think teams are honestly scared to touch him. But look at OBJ. He got a contract with a a 1-year deal with the Ravens. And I mean, I don't know if Lamar. My biggest knock on him is he takes the hits. when he runs the ball, he takes the hits versus getting down and and it's just one of those. Does he want to join the Ravens? That I think that's one of his destinations that he wants to go to. But I don't know if the team's actually gonna offer him what he wants. That could be an issue right there. And he wants to go to a contender, which isn't exactly a long list. You have us, but we don't necessarily have a designated starting quarterback right now, which hopefully Trey Lance changes that. And then, you got the Eagles, and they already have Devontae Smith and AJ Brown, so they have absolutely no need to have a third wideout. Then you have, and that's just the NFC. I mean, the rest of the NFC, you have a bunch of question marks. Then you go over to the AFC, and you got the Chiefs, you got the Bills, you have the Bengals, which the Bengals is actually a destination I threw out there because Joe Burrow and company. And then you have like Justin Herbert on the Chargers, and I still call him San Diego. And then you got like who else? Trevor Lawrence wasn't looking too bad, but the AFC is stacked. That's probably where he's going to end up. I mean, Stephon Diggs. Actually, I think the Bills are a good contender for him because of the Stephon Diggs, situation up there. But I think he's going to be sitting for a minute because I think what was it? It's post June 1st. I don't know if that has anything to do with the cap, him signing now, or after June 1st or June 6th or whatever goes on there. But yeah, I just think teams are kind of afraid because of the last couple years. He hasn't been a pillar of health and been on the field. So I think teams are probably afraid, especially what was he, 31?
I think he's 30 or 31 because he was drafted in the 2014 draft. He was 22. So
Yeah, I think if he's not 30, then he's probably going to be like 31 before the season starts, or so. It's something like that.
Yeah.
And might have a good couple years left in him. But that's why he wants to go to a contender, because he wants to win a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
But all the contenders, that they have that thing called the salary cap, and most of the contenders are right up against it, and they're not going to be able to afford the 15 to 18 million a season he's probably wanting.
David Clark.
Yes, sir.
Would you want DeAndre Hopkins on the Cleveland Browns? And since your quarterback used to be his quarterback when he was with the Houston Texans.
The best way I can answer that, if I had to pick between him and OBJ, and we had to take one of the two, I would definitely take Hopkins over OBJ. I'm not going to blast OBJ. I've done it enough. You already know how I feel about the other receiver. But right now, the way our wide receiver room is right now, I'm afraid of pre-existing injuries and injury issues. And if we could, the best way I could answer that, if we could acquire him under his full market value without spending too much money, then yes. But if we got to pay him full market value and pay an outrageous price, then no, I wouldn't want him on our team. So overall, no, under the right circumstances, yes, but I don't believe we're going to have those favorable circumstances. And like he said, he's holding out to go to a contender, and it's just not looking too good. He's not looking too high on the list. So I would have to pass on him for right now. I don't think we would be able to acquire him for an equitable deal and circumstances. It wouldn't favor us, and it wouldn't favor him either. So no.
Yeah.
I'll pass on the guy.
Yeah, I think all the same thing y'all said about why he's not signed. I agree with that because I think it could be the money issue. It could be his performance issues. It could be anything. Either that. Do you have any questions for us 49ers fans?
Not so much a question, but I mean, just to fill you guys in, if I haven't already told you this, because I've been here live with a couple of you guys before. I put Joe Montana as the GOAT over Tom Brady because Montana won 4 out of 4 Super Bowls, and he won them within a 10-year period. And back then, they didn't have headsets. Sometimes he called his own plays because he audibled a lot. He changed the play up a lot, and they didn't have concussion protocol. Some quarterbacks finished the game with a concussion or in concussion protocol. They didn't have rules to protect players. You could hit a quarterback back then. And I guess the best way, if you put Brady at the same era and time, Montana would have owned that era if Brady would have been playing back then in that day and age. So Montana's the GOAT over Tom Brady. A question? My question for you 49ers fans are, and be honest, no homerism, no, and be real. How happy are you with John Lynch as your general manager?
I'll go first because I'm about to leave in a few minutes. I'm gonna go to bed a little bit earlier to catch up on some sleep. But John Lynch has done a really good job in finding players, like Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw. He's not with Detroit, but he found Emmanuel Mosley. He always finds, these hidden gems. He's found George Kittle, who has become one of the top tight ends in the NFL. So, like when it comes to his scouting department, they do a really, really good job on finding players. And because we found a lot of good players from round 4 and round 7, as a scouting director and a general manager, making the tough moves like bringing Christian McCaffrey, trading up for Trey Lance when they saw like Jimmy, he's not bad, but we want better. They're able to make the risky moves to get the right players. Could he have done more? Of course. Like there's no perfect general manager, but overall he's found the right players. We've developed them very well, and overall, like no general manager gets a perfect score. He's up in the 90 percentile, for me. There's some things like Solomon Thomas, Javon Kinlaw, Mike McGlinchey, Now let's talk about the bad decisions. When he traded for D Ford, that didn't work out. So, but overall, drafting the right players, finding like these hidden gems, making some tough decisions, and making some Emmanuel Sanders. I'll give him between like 85 and 90 as a grade, which is like a high B and a low A.
All right, so to correlate with that, I'd say you answered my question clear. So John Lynch is not going to become a Mike Mayock that the Las Vegas Raiders got rid of. John Lynch is going to be in it for the long run, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Well said.
All right, everybody, have a good night. I'll see Corey tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
All right, John, take it easy, man. But yeah, when it comes to John Lynch, I really like the guy. I like what he's done. And, you got the whole Reuben Foster pick. He's made a couple bad early picks, but it looks to me like he could have learned his lessons about that. And, and then like free agency this offseason, he sees a glaring need to add a second pass rush, more pass rush beyond, because last season we had Nick Bosa. We had some guys that were putting pressures, just not getting there. But we had Nick Bosa 18 and a half sacks, and he saw a glaring need to get a grade A pass rusher next to him on the interior. And that's what he did. He went out and he signed Hargrave. The season before he went out, he signed Charvarius Ward because, he saw that our defensive backfield, had a couple holes and we're going to need a player for a few years. And, they've drafted well. The scouting department that he actually, he hired at, Adam Peters and the scouting department. And I really think that they're building a dynasty, and he is here for the long haul. Especially we keep building through the draft like we have. We do excellent, like John Jay said, in round 4 to 7. And I would like to see them do better in the first 3 rounds. But
That's basically my question that you answered. I wanted to establish it's clear that we can expect to see John Lynch there long term, long haul. He's not going to end up being a Mike Mayock where the Las Vegas Raiders, they let Mayock go in after his 4th year, I think, something like that. 4th, 5th year. He wasn't there long.
Yep.
So, okay, I'm glad you guys got your general manager. Thank you.
Brian Cub got a question for you. Who's your favorite Cleveland Brown mascot?
The dog.
The dog.
The dog. Not the elf. The dog.
I got a question. Do you know why your Cleveland Browns don't have cheerleaders?
Never had that asked before. Must be from the tradition. They never had it from day one. They won't have them today either.
Mm-hmm.
Never that old school tradition. Not on a high priority of the list.
Mm-hmm. Let me see. Anything else I could think of? Yeah, our GM, they both answered good. I think John Lynch has did a good job with his picks. Yes, Reuben Foster was a bad pick. He would have been a good one if he could have kept his head in the game, and leave the women alone. But he couldn't follow the rules. so they had to kick him off because he was told, "Do not bring your girlfriend to your room," and he brought her along.
Corey, the other thing that happened was we had Kareem Hunt as our complimentary running back with Nick Chubb, and when that video surfaced to Kareem Hunt, and I'm gonna go to bat for Kareem Hunt here. All right. Seriously, and I'd say this if he was on anyone's team right now, regardless of what team he'd be on. Excuse me, because right now nobody wants him. They labeled him as a woman beater since that video surfaced. You go back to that video at that hotel in Cleveland, all right? To me, the girls that were involved were not girls. That was an escort deal gone bad. And the escort that was involved was there to see one of Kareem Hunt's friends. The deal went bad. They told both these women to leave. They refused to leave. Well, I think the one wanted to leave and the other one refused to leave. The one that refused to leave caused a scene, was disorderly, was yelling and screaming, and demanded to be given gas money. She said she wasn't going to leave unless they gave her gas money. Kareem Hunt gave her $20. After she received the $20, she said, "No, I need more than that for gas." Kareem Hunt said, "Fuck you, I'm not giving you any more." She literally called him the N-word, and she slapped him in his face, Kareem Hunt. It's on video. She slapped him, and she gets away with it. All right? When Kareem Hunt went to push her, Kareem Hunt's other friend stood right in front of him and put himself between her and Kareem Hunt. So Kareem Hunt pushed his friend and ended up knocking them both down on the floor from the push. He pushed his friend because his friend got in the way when he was going to push her. So his friend got pushed into her. She fell on the floor. His friend fell on the floor with her. You can watch this on YouTube again. When she was getting ready to get back up, Kareem Hunt took his foot and kicked her in the butt cheek and kicked her back on the floor. It didn't hurt her. It wasn't something that, I mean, it might have put a bruise, a little footmark bruise on her butt cheek, but it didn't lacerate the skin or require stitches or anything. It wasn't much of a kick. It was a little kick in the ass. Okay. So she goes down and calls the police. The police don't arrest anybody. They don't charge anybody. All right. All she had to do was leave after he gave her $20. So she can call him the N-word, slap him in the face, which is assault. He goes to push her and kicks her in the butt cheek. Now he's labeled a woman beater, and no other teams will sign it now. I forgot why Cleveland didn't sign him. He wanted a lot of money to remain in Cleveland. He wanted this. He wanted Cleveland to show him the money. He was a temporarily non-participant in training camp last year, and then they came to terms, and he finally started participating in camp. So, but now he's an unrestricted free agent. Nobody will sign him because he's seen as a woman beater. Kid got a raw deal. So my point is, people make this out to be something that it's not. He's not a woman beater. He wasn't arrested. He didn't do anything. But now the court of public opinion, which destroys our company, I'm not trying to go to politics here, is what's destroyed what used to be a sport, because it's no longer a sport. So that's all I got, unless you guys got anything else for me. I'll leave it at that. I wish Kareem Hunt the best. In defense for him.
Okay. Yeah. I don't have anything more. Say.
I'll end with Odell Beckham Jr. is overrated, washed up, injury prone. He had one good catch on Sunday Night Football with a magnetic glove and a magnetic football that sticks to the hand that I could have made that damn catch with that magnetic glove and that magnetic ball. Okay. Made one catch and people hyped him up to be a future Hall of Famer. His first 3 years of the Giants were good. He had over 1,300 yards receiving. After that, his career's been a roller coaster. He's a cancer in the locker room. And I'm glad Baltimore's got him. I hope I hope he throws Lamar Jackson under the bus like he did Mayfield. And he didn't win the LA Rams a Super Bowl. He had 3 receptions on 5 targets and a touchdown before he blew out his ACL again. He can't even finish a game. He's injury prone, so he's not. I ain't worried about OBJ. I'm glad we get to play him twice this season now. I personally, I don't even see him making it through all season while getting sidelined again or limited play. Who you guys got for kickers? Robbie Gold still there kicking?
No.
Where's Robbie Gold at?
Right now, he's still a free agent. He wanted.
No, we got Jake Moody, who was the 99th pick overall in this last draft. And we got Zane Gonzalez from the Carolina Panthers for, a pick swap. If we cut him, then it ends up being nothing.
Yeah, we had Zane Gonzalez as kicker, Cleveland. I remember Gonzalez. Yeah, well, let's hope everybody's teams has a good training camp, good off, and finish out the good rest of the off season, form good rosters, stay healthy, fewest injuries, and get the season off to a good start. It's not that far, less than 100 days. When training camp starts, that's the regular season for me. Thanks for having me on, Cordy. We're going to end this. Thanks for jumping on, Niner.
Thanks for being here, David Clark. Have a good one, buddy.
Appreciate it. We'll see you guys next time.
See you next time.
Yep. Bye, Corey.
All right, bye. Yep. We made it through.
Hey, that was a good stream.
Yep.
Yep, and Jake Moody we trust. That's a fact.
Yep. Boy, I went down to close the chicken cage. And I went down there. And all the chickens was in there. Carl the rooster, he was in there. But he saw me, so he come jump out. I said, well, I ain't coming back down here, so I'm locking the cage. You better hope you get defend yourself if this raccoon come by. You stupid. I'll come and shut the cage. Why you jump out? I can't catch you to put you back in there. And I'm not going to leave it open and wait for you to try to go back in there and try to come back down again. No. Your butt's staying out till my brother get home. And if you still alive when my brother come home, the raccoon haven't came out yet.
Well, if he's as mean as you say he is, then it really shouldn't be a problem. He should be able to defend himself from the raccoons just fine. So.
Yeah. But nah, he can't. All these roosters try to defend themselves because we had other one die from. We heard all of a sudden we heard a bird going. Choking. Come out there, the raccoon was choking.
Wow. Yeah, my friend actually 2 houses up. He used to have ducks, and they don't fly. It's like a breed from India. I don't know, what they're actually called,
Mhm.
but he had 2 of them, and they used to, he had them in a pen, and the pen was pretty well fenced in. Like raccoons, they could still possibly get in there, but the chances of them getting in there are pretty slim. But they would always get out of the pen. So they got out of the pen one night, and my friend walked out one morning to go out and check on them, and the one was running around like quacking, looking for its friend. All we could find was some feathers, and then there was like a hole in the fence for his backyard, and I found a feather on each side of the fence, and I'm sitting there going, something took off with your duck, buddy. Like, and he doesn't have a camera in his backyard, just his front, so we weren't able to, see. But we figured it was either a raccoon or a skunk or, something like that.
Mhm. Thanks again, Corey and McKnight. Not just not just before I head to bed. Good night, everyone in the chat and officially out. Good night, John Jay. But
Instead of nut, but, you know,
yeah, let me see. Yeah, so I sent my brother a text saying Carl's still out. He hasn't said nothing back. He might be in the mute box and can't communicate. Got the text yet. So I know he'll be calling, Corey, you need to go back down there and let him in.
or he might just say, well, hopefully he can defend himself.
Yep. I don't mind Carl getting gone because it's a lot of work for him because we got to go out there and see my brother goes down. He gets him out the cage outside, put him in the garage cage. Cause so he won't be cock-a-doodling all night and keeping the neighbors up or early in the morning. So we don't let him
Mm.
out until about 10, 11 o'clock. We wasn't trying to buy a rooster. The lady at the where we bought him from said, she told me, this one gonna lay white eggs. So I said it's different. All other birds are colorful. So I said, okay, I take the white bird. Got home. Kids still didn't know it was a male till like maybe 6 or 7 weeks. And then we started hearing it going. We heard something go, "Cock-a-doodle." We said, oh shit, that's a male. That is a male. Oh god.
I think my neighbors like behind me that way. I think they have like a mini farm. They have horses and like cows and goats, and I think they have chickens, but like they have a little barn and it's hard to see the other side. I think they have a chicken coop over there though, but
Mm.
I don't ever hear any roosters roosting. So
Yeah, my dog hens. Yeah, you don't want a lot of times. I'm surprised none of our neighbors complain about him crowing. Cause they could. And city could come out and tell us we had to get rid of him. But none of our neighbors complain. Um, yeah, Carl is something else. Hope, um, don't hope nothing bad happened to him. If it do, I'm not gonna miss him. I'm gonna say, oh, no more. Just let out to see like the other ones. The girls, they went inside. They stayed inside. Then they come back out. He got to come to the door. What you doing being nosy? Then he gonna jump out. And I said, oh, well, you staying out. Because I ain't trying to bend over to try to catch you and put you back in. Well, I'm not going to leave them hanging, other chickens, and put them in danger. Because it'll just get you in. You see what Crazy you
Yeah.
said?
I think he's right. I think he's right. But yeah, they don't fly.
Mhm.
And they did run around his yard a lot, so that would make sense.
Yeah, so yes, I'm doing the 49ers trivia results on Monday at 7.
Okay.
Because I'm Sunday I'm going to my brother's just now, I mean not just now, but today told me we going over to his wife mother's house for a celebration. So I said, oh man, I already had that set up for me to do podcast. I said, well, I'll see if I can switch it to Sunday. I said I'll check with Brian and No Border Sports. Because I know No Border Sports is NWO. Oh, are you that's I forgot. Are you and CG gonna be doing a show tomorrow?
So the round check is on hold because of CG's work schedule. So it
Okay.
might not happen for a while. It's kind of hard to, yet to be seen type of thing.
Okay.
So should be we should be all right. I should be pretty well, I got to do the show with Bryant, which tomorrow we have Dina Harvey.
Yeah.
So that ought to be a good one. And then, that kind of opens up well, not tomorrow, but Monday. Well, yeah,
Monday.
it is tomorrow here because it's 12:20. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, we'll do the show with Dina, and then my Mondays are going to be open for the next several weeks, which is kind of nice, But I don't know what I don't know. I know Ryan was thinking about having like me and Bryant come on to the NWO. You know what? Like when they only have three guys, just to get a fourth guy on there. But I don't know. I know Bryant's up first, but he wasn't on the last week.
Yeah, I
So
think well, tomorrow, I mean not tomorrow, but it's Monday. I don't think it's going the NWO is not gonna be on Brian's show. It's gonna be on either Not in Sickness or somebody else.
okay.
So it'll be up to Not in Sickness or Aaron
Yep.
for them to bring y'all.
But yeah, I know. I think Ryan was gonna talk to him, and if they needed a fourth guy, they were gonna grab either me or Bryant. But I think Bryant goes first, so I'm cool with it.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming on.
Anytime,
Thank you for
Corey.
being here. And I'm all ready for Monday. I got it all set up for Sunday. I had to go in there and change it to Monday. But I already got
All right.
what I did, I put everybody points in, and I'm gonna do it another way. I'm gonna already put the right answers to the questions. So I'm gonna go over the questions again. But I'm gonna show you on a banner the right answer to it.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, I don't quite know how I did. I'll find out Monday. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Then what? It's all chapter 1, 20 questions,
Yeah,
right?
chapter 1. That's it. And whoever's the winner, but I believe it's gonna be you.
Yeah, well, no, there's still 20 questions.
Yeah.
Someone could possibly catch up. You never know,
Only person
right?
I can think catch up because he's right now on going on chapter 10 is YTC.
Oh,
So he got chapter 10, chapter 11, and chapter 12, and chapter 13 to go.
okay.
So he can catch up. So you want to hit a home run on chapter 1. Try to make it
I'll
where it's
try.
hard for him to catch up. Because I'm like, would I be trying to find a Niner prize? Or would I be trying to find a New York Giants prize? And John Jay's he's kicking up behind you too, though, too.
Yeah, it's still possible. There's 20 questions. I could miss a lot, and he could hit a lot. You really never know, right?
Yep. Even though he
Or at
don't
least
want
I
to
don't
win.
at this point. I don't think I have an insurmountable lead, but we don't know. I don't know the results, so
Yeah.
we'll find out.
Yep. All right. Thank you, everybody that came in. Thank you to Davey and Clark for doing this with me tonight. And I hope to see you after we beat the Browns in week. What's that week? I can't see my schedule that good.
Is it like week 4?
6, week 6, after week 6.
Week 6. Okay.
Yeah, after week 6, then we gonna. I'm gonna try to do a post game with him. If he'll do it, he might say. If we beat him bad, he might say, "No, I'm not doing it."
I look at this next season like we do have a tough schedule, and I don't
Yeah.
care if we win it by 1 point as long as we win games.
Yeah. So I'll see you. Well, I'll be on in the morning.
Okay, coffee talk.
Yep. And
All right.
then I won't be doing the show in the evening unless something dramatically changed that maybe we don't go to the parties. The mother-in-law gets too sick for us to go there. Or something happened, drastic happened where I end up staying home, then I might just say, okay, I'm coming home. I go ahead and do it. But right now, I had to cancel it.
Just let me know. I mean, I'm open both nights pretty much. So.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right, buddy.
Go 49ers.
Go 49ers and F those lambs.
Yep.
Yep.
Let me put up my theme music. Didn't get to play it in the beginning because it kept on messing up my computer. And let me say, salute to this guy. Great Jim Brown. May he rest in peace. Can you see that picture?
Oh yeah. Yep. May Jim Brown rest in peace. That helmet, that doesn't look very protective.
Yep.
Kind of looks like it's made of clay.
I wonder if this is a video or just a picture. I want to see something. I'll bring something else up. Oh, okay, just a picture though. This is at my job. We did a it's a Christmas play. I think it's Christmas. Was it Christmas? Yeah, I think it's a Christmas play. And really, it's a video. You ever go on my channel, you'll see this video. It's a Christmas play we did with the kids.
Sweet. I still gotta like rewind on your channel and see the karaoke.
I didn't do no
Gonna
karaoke.
do it. I'm gonna do it.
But my brothers, like this brother did. That's one that No Water Sports trying to get to sing. See, I think I got another. That's him singing there. This is my daddy's 80th birthday party. He did the song what's that song? It's off of what's the name did it on Shrek? I can't think of the title. Tenderness. I can't think of it because I'm not a singer. Yep. All right.
All right. Everybody have a good night.
Yeah, John Jay, we can't shut up yet. I've been saying we're going off. Just joking. Okay, let me go ahead and take myself down. I'm going to take you in the background. I'm going to put my music up.
All right.
All right. Stay in for a minute, Dave. I want to talk to you prior.